This is case number 211 on the calendar in the matter of Palmer, Chorney versus Palmer. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
How are you related to each other?
Friends.
How are you involved in this case?
That's my best friend. She borrowed him the money. She borrowed me the money to borrow him.
She loaned you the money.
Sorry, she loaned me the money.
That he allegedly borrowed from you.
Yes.
Why don't you have a seat? This is your father.
Yes, ma'am.
It's your claim that the father borrowed $200 from you and also has some property of yours that's not worth very much, but $80. It's a VCR and a quilt set. He says he never borrowed any money from you and you took all your property, put it outside, and you came by and you took it. What did you lend your father money for?
My best friend had borrowed or loaned me $200 to loan him $200 so he could move into the apartment that he is staying in with now with his girlfriend. He did not have the full deposit to move in.
When did he ask you for this money?
June 8th.
Did he call you on the phone?
Yeah, he called me on my cell phone.
Where were you living?
With my mother.
So your father called you and asked you to borrow money so that he could put down a deposit on an apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would he call his daughter?
He's called me many times to borrow money. He's borrowed money from me several times.
How old are you?
19.
What kind of work do you do?
I clean houses for a living. I work for Mary Maids.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Palmer?
I'm a truck driver, been a truck driver for 10 years.
You work steadily 5 days a week?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you work for?
Right now I'm working for D&D. What is it?
Don't ask her. She doesn't drive the truck.
Oh, I can't remember what it's D&D services, I guess is what
It's
they call
D&D
it.
Realty. He maintenances for his landlord. He is not driving a truck.
Okay. On what date did you lend him this money?
June 9th.
Who were you working for on June 9th?
A1 Container. It's a trash business.
And how long had you been working for them?
Right around 7, 8 months.
So there was really no need for you to borrow money from your daughter?
No, ma'am. When all this was going on, I was in the process of a divorce. I was living in my truck for 2.5 months. The gentleman that I worked for at A1 Container was holding my paychecks so I didn't blow my money, so I would have the money to move in. This 200.
Why was he holding?
I asked him to hold a certain amount of money every week. I'd cash my check. I'd give him cash. Would hold this for me so I don't blow my money, because he knew the predicament I was in. I'd been living in my truck for 2.5 months. This whole case started over, this was supposed to be a trip that Amanda, Sylvia's 7-year-old sister, was supposed to take to Kansas City. I couldn't get the time off of work because I had just started working.
Oh, what's your first name?
Amanda.
Amanda. Who's Sylvia?
This is Sylvia.
And who's 7-year-old?
That's her sister, and she's 6,
has
and that is
nothing.
incorrect. He had lost his job.
Go ahead.
We had planned a trip to go to Kansas City. It was supposed to be a week later than what they went. We told her not to go because her car would not make the trip. I had a SEI.
When was it?
The trip was supposed to take place, I take her, Your Honor, every year.
When was the trip?
June 22nd for her birthday. For the last 10 years, I've taken my daughter to Worlds of Fun.
She went. So what's the $200 for?
She went to Kansas City against my wishes. I had a mechanic look at her vehicle. The mechanic stated, your car is not worthy. I got a phone call at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on my pager from my girlfriend, Linda. Your daughter is in Kansas City. Her car broke down. She was 80 miles outside of Columbia, Missouri. She got on the interstate, left Worlds of Fun on 480.
Don't give me the road, sir. It doesn't make any difference.
She went the wrong direction.
So what was the $200 for?
She's stating that I borrowed $280 from her. I borrowed no money. I was supposed to pay for their trip to Kansas City. They went without me, and the mechanic told her not to go. The car broke down. They called me. I took time off of work. I borrowed money. I borrowed a car, drove to Kansas City, picked up my daughter, Sylvia, and a 7-year-old girl out in the middle of nowhere. The highway patrol had to find her for me.
How long did it take you to get there?
They called me at 2:30 in the afternoon. I showed up in Kansas City at 9:30 at night.
And when was this?
The day that they took the trip.
Your Honor,
It was the 12th that
12th
we
of
were
what?
stuck out there of June.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that your father borrowed money from $200 from you on June 9th. And 3 days later, he came out to Kansas City to get you.
Yes.
He
He came out. He came out to help me with my starter because my starter went out in my car. I had took it to my personal mechanic, and
No, I'm talking about you drove 11 hours to come and get you.
I called him at 11 a.m. and he was not home. So his girlfriend called him and then called me back and let me know that he was working and he'd be out as soon as he could get off of work and he could find a car. I did not call him at his place of business. I do not know that.
Did your father come to get you on June 12th?
Yes, he came out on June 12th.
Okay, and he came out. What did he do when he came out on June 12th? Just a minute. You sit down. Look at me. Look at me. You too.
When he arrived, he threw the cooler that belonged to her towards her little sister, and his girlfriend hollered at him and pushed him away. He then put a spare tire on my car because my spare had exploded. The company out in Kansas City put a new starter in my car, so I needed a tire. It wasn't the starter that I needed help with.
Okay, so?
And the $200 had nothing to do with the trip. He was fired from A1. He did not work there no more. The only reason why I borrowed him the money is because I felt bad for him because he got arrested for sleeping in his truck.
Okay. Now, what about these things that you say he has that belong to you, a VCR and a quilt?
When he first moved into his apartment, they were sleeping on the floor. They had blankets, and that was it because his girlfriend's going through a divorce and just left her daughter and her husband to be with him. I had went to stay with him for a little while because I wasn't getting along with my mother. And I had a VCR, and I had my TV there. I got my TV and my dressers and my clothes back. And the only reason why I got that back is because I was escorted by officers because
Well, what caused the trouble between you and your father?
his girlfriend.
Wow.
Excuse me, Your Honor?
Explain that to me. It sounds to me as
that
if...
being more important than his daughter.
It sounds to me as if for at least, he says 10 years, he would take you to this water park.
No.
Say 5 years.
Worlds of
But
fun.
you had a reasonable relationship with him. Certainly you got into trouble and you called him to come and help you.
It was occasionally reasonable. It depended.
Good. Okay. And then if you had difficulty with your mother,
Yeah.
you said you went to your father. So it wasn't as if you were estranged, you know, that you weren't
While I was
speaking.
staying with him, my belongings were there, but I was staying at Sylvia's house most of the time because we were fighting.
All right. But sometimes you were there and it doesn't sound like a terrible arrangement. So what kind of problems do you have with his girlfriend?
That she was on probation, and he is...
Probation for what?
I believe DWI.
Okay.
And the problems all occurred, and the reason why I started staying with Sylvia was because they were arguing because he was having pot in the house while she's on probation, and that she was drinking while being on probation.
Did your father drink?
From what I understand, yeah, he has been. While I was staying with him, I had seen him drink several times.
Your Honor, I quit drinking April 13th, 1988 when I hit a telephone pole at 80 miles an hour because of alcohol, and I haven't drank since.
So,
My
Mr.
Uncle John
Palmer,
passed.
what are you involved? Shh, listen to me. Listen to me. If that's true, that means that there was a point in your life where you had a drinking problem.
Yes, ma'am.
And it sounds to me like you had a serious drinking problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Then what do you get yourself involved with somebody who has a drinking problem for?
Because my girlfriend has been in AA for 2.5 years, clean and sober. I have been clean and sober for almost 11 months.
That's
And
incorrect.
Just a shh, shh.
I
I thought
would
it was
like to-
1988.
I would like
I thought it was
I would like to
1988.
explain, Your Honor, I would like to explain why this has all come about. The problems between me and my daughter are right there with Sylvia Chorney. My daughter lied to you when you asked her, what is your relationship? They are not friends. They are girlfriends.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had a substance abuse problem.
I had no
Period.
substance abuse.
Of course you did. You were in AA.
Test me right now and
You
prove
told
to
me you
that
were
I
in
had-
AA.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Amanda Palmer says she loaned her father, Mark Palmer, $200. Mark says Amanda is a bitter girl and she's seeking revenge.
Now,
That is my friend.
There was a point when this all came out, before I found out that my daughter and Sylvia Chorney were seeing each other. Sylvia Chorney went to the Omaha Police Department and filed charges against me for rape, for fear of how I was going to react
No.
to this.
My mother
And-
that's when he was still with my mother, and my mother was around, and I went to my mother when I found out that he had raped her. And I had took my mother to Village Inn. I sat down, I had talked to her. My mother knew before he knew that I was gay. That has nothing to do with
And
it.
Your Honor, they
the
said that
verbal
it
and
was-
the physical
Listen
and the
to me,
emotional
listen to me,
abuse
listen to me.
started when I was very young.
Okay. Shh. More information that I needed for this. Shh, please. More information that I needed. I see you're upset. Okay. And it's more than $200. It's, you know, the issue involves more than $200.
Yeah.
I gather.
Well, I have
To you.
papers and everything stating for the money that came out and all of that because it was from her.
I want to tell you something. I believe that you gave him $200. Okay? I believe that you gave him $200. What I'm telling you is I don't think that this case is about $200 because I don't think that you would be here for $200.
It wasn't for me. It was for the respect out of my friend, or whatever he wants to consider her, out of my best friend, because she borrowed it, and I don't want it to come in between us because of that.
Okay. So you're really talking about Sylvia saying to you, you got to get the money back from him.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a minute. Good, bad, I don't know. I don't have enough time to figure it out today, nor is it really any of my business. Whether he's a good father, a bad father, whether he has been verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, whether he's been supportive or non-supportive, I don't know. Bottom line is, that's your father.
Bottom
And
line
when,
is, Your Honor, I support
hey,
her no matter
quiet
what.
down, because I have a feeling, sir, growing up with you was not a picnic. If you had an alcohol problem for a period, listen to me carefully. Deny all you like. But if growing up with you at times involved living with your substance abuse problem, that's a problem.
A
That's
substance
not
abuse problem. I had no substance abuse problem,
course
Your
you did.
Honor.
Of course
I
you did.
left my wife because my wife had left me on several occasions laying in a
Mr.
bed
Palmer, Mr.
burning.
Palmer, Mr. Palmer, you are not paying attention to me, sir. What I'm saying to you is you had a substance abuse problem.
I had
for a
no
period-
substance abuse.
Of course you did. You were in AA.
Test me
You-
right now and
you
prove
told
to
me
me
you
that
were
I
in
had
AA.
it. I was drinking in April 13th, 1988. I went after work. I went and had a
Mr.
few
Palmer,
beers with a buddy.
Alcohol, you told me. You've been involved in AA. You've been clean and sober for 11 months. That's what you told me. Alcohol is a substance. If you abuse a substance, that's a substance abuse. That's not necessarily drugs. Alcohol is a substance.
I went
If
to
you-
AA, Your Honor, for marijuana
Mr.
use, not
Mr.
alcohol use.
Mr. Palmer, whatever it is, sir, if you're in a state of denial, I'm not going to reach you.
I
You
don't
have a
deny it.
child who's 19 years old. If during the course of her minority, you as a parent that sometimes were under the influence of either marijuana, which is a drug, or alcohol, which is also a substance, and that caused you not to be able to properly parent a child, and I'm telling you that it absolutely all the time does not enable you to properly parent a child when your brain is cloudy, then she grew up with certain amount of baggage that she didn't buy into when she was born. You have to understand that. That's a true thing.
I understand
You
that,
may
Your
not
Honor.
like it, but it's a true thing. So she's got baggage.
I'm not
She is
the
your
one
child.
I am not the one being investigated for doctor shopping,
Oh,
for pills,
gee
because of her
whiz.
mother.
You're not getting it.
No, he can't.
You're not-
do
If
that.
I'm
He's
not getting it,
he
then
can't
award her
pass
the
the
case
UA.
because I am
Because
so
he's
used.
Then I want you to
substance.
tell him, if he doesn't understand, I want you to just stand by him. And every time he opens his mouth now, because now tried to get through to him, it was like getting through to this table. You don't get it.
Just award to her.
You don't get it.
I do get it.
You
I've
don't
been
get it.
shafted for
She's your
23
child.
years. I got shafted for 23 years. What's another day in court?
Just a second. She wasn't around for 23 years, sir. She's only been around 19.
And it's been this
19.
way my whole life.
Shh. She's only been around for 19.
Your Honor,
Just listen.
I have traveled her all
No,
over
no,
the
I'm
United
not
States.
listening to you. You are not getting it. You are not getting it. She's the child. You're the parent.
And I was a damn good parent.
Oh, I'm sure you were a wonderful parent. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $280. You don't get it. But he's your father. He's always going to be your father. If Sylvia was a good friend to you, she would not have put you in a situation that you're in today by saying to you, you should get the money back from him. Because this is too painful. This is too painful. You should not be involved with it. You have to understand, your best friend is supposed to make things easy for you, not
She
more
has-
difficult. Good.
That has been
Okay,
her
judgment for the
biggest thing.
plaintiff as pursuant to the requested judgment, which is $280, because I believe what you tell me. That's all.
Parties are
Thank
excused.
you.
You may step out. Sir, step out the back.
It's been nothing but verbal threats, him harassing her at her job.
She lied to the judge.
I don't care if I was 16 and had $5 and he asked for it, I'd give it to him.
Off limit.
Nothing in that house was hurt.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bloom parent versus parent. Step forward, please.
57-year-old Shirley Bloom and her daughter, 23-year-old teacher Terry Parent, are suing Shirley's son, 21-year-old plumber's assistant Jess Parent, for an unpaid loan to keep him out of jail.
According to your complaint, there came a time when your son was facing a prison term or facing jail unless you could come up with some money. You took out a loan so he would have the money, but you needed some collateral, and the only collateral that you had was your mother's car, which you did put up as collateral for this loan. Your brother hasn't paid back the loan. What was he facing jail about?
It was for deferred adjudication, and he had hot checks.
A deferred adjudication, which means if he paid back the money, he wouldn't go to jail.
Right.
Okay, and how much money did he have to come up with?
Altogether, it was like $1,900.
So did he come to you and ask you for the money?
Actually, he came to my mom.
What did he say to you, Miss Blum?
He told me that if he didn't have this money by this certain time, that his probation officer, when his probation was off, that they would automatically give him a year. And if he went to jail, then he would go automatically to prison.
You then spoke to your daughter.
Right.
I used my mother's vehicle. It's a '97 Kia Sophia, and got the lease and the amount of money I needed.
And what were the monthly payments on it?
Every week it was $38.72. On March 23rd, 2001, I paid the loan off, which he didn't help me other than maybe, 6, 7 payments of all.
$871 he gave you
Right.
back.
I had to pay off the loan, which was $1,987.22.
Okay, let's hear from you.
I disagree with everything that was just said, because I'd give my mom money to the fact that if the baby, my sister's baby, needed something, I'd give them some money. Every time I got paid, I'd give them some money.
That's not true.
to help them out.
That's not true, Jess. You know that.
I mean, anytime they needed help, I would help them out. And I mean, it's just been going on like this since I was little. I mean, she's been wanting money. I mean, I had a job.
Let's go back.
Her. Okay.
You faced a term of imprisonment on a deferred adjudication. You had to come up with some money, all at one time. Did you ask your mother for the money?
No, ma'am. It wasn't that much.
Just a second.
Okay.
Did you discuss with your mother the fact that if you didn't come up with a bulk piece of money, you were going to go to jail?
No, ma'am. I had a job, and it wasn't that much money. For deferred adjudication, I was not going to, it wasn't having to pay a fine.
Is what you're telling me that your sister never gave you a check to give to the court for fines?
No.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
And that was on or about August of 2000?
Yes. I had a job. I was working.
That's not what I asked you.
Okay.
Are you telling me that you never, in August of 2000, needed a bulk sum of money to pay fines and other bad checks? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
What's the name of your probation officer?
Dolores,
What's her phone number?
I have no idea.
Oh, sure you do. You have to call and check in with your probation officer, sir.
I went and seen her once a month. I never had a call and check or nothing.
Does that name sound familiar to you?
Yes, it does.
Do you have the telephone number of the probation officer?
No, I don't. I never got anything like that. He would never give it to me because he didn't want me to talk to her.
Do you have a copy of the check?
No, we just have the copy of the loan.
The agreement, the lease agreement.
And
for
I have, these are checks that I picked up with some of that money for him because he was going to go to jail that day if they weren't paid. And the rest of it I gave it to him to pay his fine.
Well, you certainly made restitution on that date, sir. So that takes care of your argument that you didn't need a bulk of money in August.
I didn't. I had to pay a certain payment before that date.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
No.
Your Honor, why would we get the loan if, I mean, I have my own responsibilities,
What did
more or
you do
less.
with the check that you got for it?
I cashed it and I gave him my mother went and paid off some of his hot checks, which we gave you the paperwork on that.
And the rest of it we gave to him.
How many bad checks did you write?
I wrote, I'd say around 4 or 5.
That's not true.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
I wrote about 4 or 5 hot checks because I had gotten kicked out of their house. So,
What'd you get kicked out for?
well, she wanted more money from me, and I only had so much money. I was getting.
That's not
I
true,
gave
Jess.
her most
That's
of
not-
my check.
No.
Yes, that is true. Every week when I got paid, I got a certain amount. That's all I would get. I'd give her the rent. I didn't mind paying rent. I don't mind doing that. You know,
Well,
I
how
feel
old are you?
responsible. You know,
How
I'm
old are
21.
you?
I don't mind paying rent at all. That's part of life, you know. But I mean, you shouldn't work all week for just like $50
When you have
a
that
week
many
when you
bills.
give your whole check to your mom. I mean, that's supposed to be your mom, not your money taker.
That's right.
you
And
know.
it's supposed to be your mom.
Don't talk to him.
Your Honor, I keep a diary because he accused me several times of taking his money. He'd give me money, right. By the end of the week, he would borrow it all back. And he'd say, Mom, why don't I have any money? So I kept a little calendar. And every time he got money from me, I wrote it down. And I made copies for you. If you want to see them, showing since the time we had to get him out of jail the first time, which was like almost $700 that weekend getting him out of jail when he got in trouble, that he never paid back.
You been arrested since, sir?
No, ma'am.
How many times have you been arrested altogether?
I'd say twice.
Yes.
I'd say twice.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
say.
it wasn't nothing besides traffic tickets. I mean, that's why. I mean, I
And
got.
lying to a judge.
Shh.
That's why I got. Well, the second time I got thrown in jail for lying to an officer, and the officer came back and put me in jail for that.
Oh, good. And what's next?
And then the other one was for traffic tickets.
And the other one was for bad checks.
No, I never got thrown in jail for bad checks.
No, because Mama helped and paid.
No, because I worked and paid for them.
No,
You
didn't.
got
The
arrested
loan
for
does-
bad. Just a second. You got arrested for bad checks, didn't you?
No, he never
I never
got
got arrested for
Never
bad
got
checks.
arrested
No,
for the bad
because I
checks.
paid them all.
No, he
Oh,
came
so
to
I
us
see.
whining about
I
he was
see.
gonna
He
go to
was
jail.
on probation for something else.
Right.
Oh.
Officer.
Oh, what? For lying to an officer.
Right.
Yeah.
What'd you lie to him about?
I told him a different name because I knew I had a traffic ticket out.
Oh, so, and that wasn't hard to lie to the officer, was it?
No, it wasn't. It
Good.
was a
Judgment for the
class-
plaintiff in the amount of $1,987.
37-year-old trucker John Staley says during a visit with his sister, 38-year-old customer service rep Terry Thompson, she attacked him with a hammer. John says Terry lied to police and had him arrested for domestic violence.
Mr. Staley, the defendant is your sister.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, she filed a false police report causing you to be arrested, spending a day in jail. Those charges were subsequently dismissed, but you want her to pay for your lost wages.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right? When did this incident occur that caused you to be arrested?
August 9th,
And where did it take place?
at the defendant's home of residence.
What were you doing there?
On August 9th, I came home to my home, and I found my niece, my oldest niece, on the phone.
Your
I asked
oldest
her-
niece is your daughter?
Yes.
Go ahead.
She was calling people on the phone, and she advised me that her car had broken down. She didn't have any money on her, and she needed help getting the car towed to get the car fixed. And she asked for my assistance. At the point, I didn't really have any money, but as we were discussing this, the tow truck showed up at my residence. So I told Lori to go with the tow truck driver to go get the car, have the vehicle towed, and I would go to the bank, withdraw money to pay for the towing. And Lori needed to go back to her mother's house, so I took Lori back to her mother's house, and that's what I was doing there.
And what happened when you got there?
I walked with Lori upstairs to the apartment. I stayed in the hallway.
Your Honor.
of the-
Don't put your hand up yet. You'll have an opportunity to tell me your side of the story.
I stayed in the hallway while Lori went in and got her things, and there was a discussion that Terry made about that I owed her an apology over an incident that took place 2 years ago. She
Have
made.
you spoken to your sister since?
I haven't spoken to my sister since February or March of this year.
But you were outside in the hallway.
I was in the hallway of the apartment.
She came out to the hallway
Yes, she did.
to tell you
She
that
wanted an apology, and she made some statements, and I told her she needed to get her facts straight on that issue, but I wasn't going to apologize for this incident. It's 2 years old, and there was no need, and I felt I was in the right of that incident.
Okay.
And she told me to leave, and I tried telling her that I needed to take Lori back to get her car, And she said, no, you're not. She demanded that I leave, and if I didn't leave, she was going to go in, get a hammer, and she was going to beat me with the hammer. And I said, fine. So I turned around, I started walking down the steps. I was on the second step when my sister tried shoving me down the stairs. As she was pushing for me from behind, I turned around with my arm, I raised my arm in defense, and at the same time I tried to maintain my balance on the stairwell.
Had she gotten the hammer?
Not at that point. She got hysterical and everything. She started screaming out loud, and she ran back into her apartment, and I started walking down the stairs, and I was at the first turnaround. There's 3 flights of stairs, and there's a turnaround at one point, and that's when she emerged with the hammer from the apartment.
Did she come down the stairs to
Yes,
where
she
you
did.
were?
I started running down the stairs. I was at the bottom of the stairs when we came together, and she went to swing the hammer, and I put my hands up in a high blocking fashion, and the hammer caught my right forearm, and then I returned a kick to Terry, kicking her away from me, and this bought me a couple seconds to get out the door. Terry then chased me out the door, and I turned and I tossed my keys at Terry. I missed Terry, and my keys went into the bushes on the east side of the doorwell. And then she continued to swing the hammer, and she started yelling to her neighbors, "Call 911! I'm being assaulted!" as she was swinging the hammer.
Did you report this to the police?
Yes, I did.
When?
What happened was Lori came out, and I ended up taking Lori back to her car.
When did you report this to the police?
After I dropped my niece off at her car, I went straight to the sheriff's department.
And what happened when you got there?
They interviewed me, and I told them about the apology and
Told them the story.
told them the story. They said they had to talk to Terry about the hammer because she didn't originally tell them about the hammer. And they come back and they said she admitted to using the hammer and that I admitted to kicking her. And as far as they were concerned, this was mutual combat, and their policy is to take one of us to jail. They elected me because I was already there.
And subsequently the charges were dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see your paperwork, please. Now, Ms. Thompson, you tell me your version of these events, please.
He's been told several times, this would meaning the 5th time of this year, that he doesn't need to be over harassing me or coming over to my apartment. There's no reason for him to be over there since we do not get along. There's been a few domestic disputes in the past.
Whatever. Your daughter came home to gather some
Yeah.
stuff. Your brother is standing outside in the hallway of your apartment. What happened from there?
Okay, well, I buzzed my daughter to get in. I only seen my daughter get in.
Fine. Your brother is standing
He
in the
pushed
landing.
his way in my
Where was he
apartment.
in the apartment?
He was standing in the living room.
Is the living room as soon as you enter into the door?
Yep.
Fine. Okay, so he's standing in the living room. What happened next?
He was trying to say hi, and he was being very much agitating and aggressive. And I said, "Why are you here? You know, you don't get along. We don't get along."
What did he tell you?
He was very much trying to say hi,
No,
very
Miss Thompson.
jumping up and down.
Miss Thompson, pay careful attention to me.
Okay.
He was there because he had brought your daughter there, right?
He could have waited in the car.
Just a second. Answer my question.
Yes.
He was there because he brought your daughter there,
Yes.
and he was waiting for her.
No,
He took her back to get her car.
that's correct.
Right. She got her things, and eventually, after this altercation, she left with him. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, I want you to tell me about this hammer that you admit that you hit him with.
First, he punched me first before I got a chance.
Where did that take place?
It happened in the hallway.
What level of the staircase did it happen where he punched you?
On the 2nd level.
Was he in front of you or behind you?
He was in front of me.
What were you doing following him out of the building?
He was still agitating me the whole way.
What were you doing following him as he was leaving the building?
Your Honor, he's constantly over in my apartment.
I don't care about constantly over. I'm asking you. He's leaving. You told him to leave. He's on his way down the stairs.
Right, agitatingly.
Not agitating, leaving the building. Whether he's leaving the building and he's saying words to you or he's not saying words to you, he's leaving. If he was agitating you, you close your door to your apartment, you say, "My goodness, I'm glad he's out of here." You close the door, case closed. What were you following him for?
To make sure I didn't want him to come back.
When did you get the hammer?
I got it out from my closet in my apartment.
What did you call the police for?
I've constantly called the police.
I don't care constantly. What did you call the police for today, that day?
Because he was over again at my apartment harassing me.
Ms. Thompson, was your daughter moving out of your apartment? Is that why she came over?
No, she just wanted one thing, a paycheck. She was in there for a second and out.
So she just came home to get a paycheck, right?
Right.
When did she tell you that she was just there to get a paycheck?
She didn't even bother telling me.
She walked in the door and you said something. You
He followed her up.
When your daughter walked in the house,
Okay.
did she tell you what she was doing there?
No, first she said, John is behind me.
Fine.
And then he pushed his way in. And then she went to get her check to get him out of there.
That's not why she went to get her check. That is not why she went to get her check. She came to the house because she had to get a check. She asked him for a ride. He was not there uninvited by someone who lives in your house. Does your daughter live with you? Does your
No.
daughter live with you?
No, she doesn't.
Did she live with you then?
No.
Okay, but a check was in your home?
She came over to visit me, and the check was in her pants pocket, and she came back to pick up her check.
So she leaves clothes in your house?
There's times she visits.
So she leaves clothes in your house?
Yes.
So she invited him to drive her home. She walked in and said to you, John's behind me. Not John's behind me, he's stalking me. He followed me here in order to hurt you.
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
No, he didn't, Miss Thompson. Now, Miss Thompson, you told him to leave and he was leaving. And your daughter was still upstairs. You're the one who gets agitated because you were following him down the stairs. You went upstairs and you got a hammer.
And he couldn't stay in his car?
He could have stayed in his car.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, he could have. That doesn't give you license to go and get a hammer and assault him with a hammer. That doesn't give you license to do that. He's not a stranger. It's not somebody that you don't know. You may not get along with your brother, Miss Thompson, but that doesn't give you license to pick up a deadly weapon and to use it at all. And you're absolutely responsible for his lost day's wages, which in this case, all he's suing for is $134.84. You got it. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step. Yeah, this is case. Yeah, this is case number 148 on the calendar. The matter of Wilmore versus Stevenson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat, please.
All right, there are lots of pieces to this lawsuit, so let me see if I can simplify them. Take one piece at a time. Mr. and Mrs. Wilmore, the defendant was a tenant of yours for a period of time. It is your claim that she owes you for past due rent, that she owes for some utility bills, that she owes for some damage done to the property, and in addition, Mr. Wilmore, that she had you falsely arrested, and you spent a few hours in jail as a result of that arrest, and you want to be compensated for that. Ms. Stevenson says that you actually owe her money. She wants money for mental distress, and she wants all of the rent that she did in fact pay you during the course of her tenancy, because she says the property was substandard. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. When did Miss Stevenson become your tenant, and in what kind of property?
We have a house that was built in 1909. It's a former ranch house that we restored over the past 3.5 years. The downstairs part of the house was turned into an in-law unit.
And that's what you rented her?
Yes.
When?
She actually moved in on February 21st.
Can I see the lease? Is that the lease that you have?
On February 2nd.
All right. Term of the lease shall be for 6 months, commencing on February 7th. You moved in February?
Yes.
And when did Miss Stevenson move out?
She moved out on June 3rd.
And this is her final notice that she pinned to the door.
I didn't ask anything. So, you moved out on June 3rd?
Yes, I did.
The rent, according to the lease, was $1,000 a month, and she was to give you $2,000 security deposit. Did she ever give that to you?
Yes.
Okay.
She gave us $1,750. She never gave us the $250 that was still due on the deposit.
Okay, so she gave you $1,750. Did you pay February's rent?
I paid from the 21st of February to the 28th, $250.
Okay, was that your agreement?
No.
No. This lease starts February 7th.
There is a 2-week delay because we were finishing construction.
So she couldn't move in.
No.
All right, so then she's correct that she gave you $250. So that.
But that was not the deposit. The
I'm not
deposit.
talking about the deposit. I'm talking about for February's rent.
Okay.
Pay attention, because this is an intricate case, and I don't want to have to repeat myself. Put your hand down. March. Did you pay rent in March?
I paid rent in April for March.
How much did you pay in April?
500 plus 965, 1465.
How much did she pay in April?
When we came back, she said that due to the...
Listen to me.
All right.
Forget it.
How much
Can't
did
do it
she
this.
actually
I
pay?
can't do it this way.
Okay, do it your
In
way.
the 6 months, she should have paid $6,000 in rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much did she pay? How much did you pay in the 6 months?
$3,250.
And that's with or without the $1,750?
Including.
Including the $1,750?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you lived there for 4 months. You moved out.
I lived there 3 months and...
Some days.
Almost 2 weeks.
Well, then that's a whole month.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Sure.
The lease is from February 7th to July 7th. Although it says 6 months, it was signed for 5 months. When I brought it up to Mr. Wilmore, he said it's because they're having house guests.
It says it's a 6-month lease, but I miscalculated the months. And so it says from February through whatever it was. And it actually...
Whatever, I'm going to resolve that in her favor. I see exactly what you mean.
All right.
It says the term of the lease shall be for 6 months, commencing February 7th and ending on July 7th. That's 5 months.
Right.
Right.
There's more to this story.
I don't care. Listen, I don't plan on making this a whole day affair. This
All
is
right.
not the Scopes trial. You say she damaged the premises.
Yes,
How did
Your
she
Honor.
damage the premises?
She left boiling water on a wood parquet floor.
Show me. How do you leave boiling water on a wood parquet floor?
You let it overflow a boiling pot and then, I don't know, maybe wake up an hour later and turn the pot off.
What is this white thing? Is this the stove?
Yes. Yes.
Stoves and I aren't friends. I usually can't identify them unless I see the whole thing.
Martha Stewart's available.
I have a large sign in my kitchen, and you know what this large sign says? Martha Stewart doesn't live here. Would you give this to the defendant and show the defendant?
She says the nicest things about you, Your Honor.
I think she's wonderful. You know, she does her thing. I'll do mine. How did that happen?
Well, over
Not a
time.
well. Well isn't an answer. Let's have
Over
it.
time, because he had sawed off part of a countertop and put it into a new place right next to the stove and left a gape, half an inch, quarter an inch. Over time, I did see the swelling. He talked with the contractors. I was present to make note that there was swelling. But in my opinion, I did the best thing I could, cleaned up everything. I'm a very neat person.
Was water left there by you that had boiled over on the floor, causing
Absolutely
this?
not.
Absolutely not. And this, what you're showing me, listen to me carefully, what you're showing me is under
The
the stove? Get it. Now tell me about this false arrest.
One day the sheriff's office arrived at my door and told me that I was under citizen's arrest. When I asked them what for, they said they couldn't disclose. It was a citizen's arrest, and that they made it quite clear that it was not their arrest,
It was by a citizen, this citizen.
not them.
Well, right. And it's clear that Miss Stevenson did, in fact, cause you to be arrested. So I think I'm going to let her tell me the story. Go ahead, madam.
I was greeting a neighbor across the street in the front of in the front of my unit, the back of their apartment. A neighbor that they have a mutual restraining order against. The plaintiffs had put my name as a protected person in a restraining order that they filed against my neighbor. I went to the court system, put a declaration on a penalty of perjury that I did not give them consent to be a protected person. However, this person is my friend. I ran across the street, went in his house actually for the first time, saw that he was a little ill, talked with him for maybe 5 minutes.
You're distracting me.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had him violated on the temporary order of protection. Is that right?
I went down to...
Is that right? Based upon that statement. I read your answer, madam. Don't fool around with me.
And later today,
It's like a $2,000 TV, and 2 weeks later, we get into some kind of argument. She says she wants to break up. I said, I want my TV back then. She goes, no, tough luck.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Scott and Justina Wilmore claim former tenant Anna Stevenson owes for unpaid rent, damages, and for a false arrest. Anna says Scott violated her restraining order.
Go ahead.
My friend Michelle was waiting downstairs for me. I ran across the street, went up to my unit. Mr. Wilmore was on his upper deck patio and said the sheriffs are on their way. And I said, I know I didn't just hear you talk to me.
Why did you, just a second. I don't have a restraining order. You got a restraining order against him?
I have a restraining order against Mr. Wilmore.
For what?
For harassment, for peeping.
What kind of harassment?
First of all, he...
Let me see a copy of the restraining order.
Peeping Tom, ma'am. I caught him in my... crouched down in a small window,
Your Honor,
peering
if you were
through
married
my...
to this one, would you...
Now, listen to me. Listen to me. Mr. Wilmore,
I'm sorry.
you're making it very difficult for me to concentrate on this case.
Okay.
I want you to understand that. Now, I know that you and your wife don't want me to make it difficult for me to concentrate on this case, but talking to each other, looking through your papers, is not helping me.
Okay.
Okay. What was the date, by the way, that he allegedly violated this protective order?
The date I had him arrested, 5/20.
What was the date?
5/20.
And you had gotten this on May 7th?
Correct.
It was continued on your request until the 22nd of May, is that right?
That's right.
Why was it continued?
Because Mr. Wilmore asked for a continuance.
He actually appeared?
He did the first
time and asked for a continuance until the 22nd. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry.
Quiet!
It's not, because the
Listen to me.
continuance was on the 22nd.
Just be quiet. And 2 days before you were scheduled to go back to court, Mr. Wilmore said to you from his balcony, I've just called the police.
Yes, ma'am.
And based upon that, you had him violated on the temporary order of protection. Is that right?
I went down to...
Is that right? Based upon that statement, I read your answer, madam. Don't fool around with me. Based upon that statement, the sheriffs are on their way. You had him violated for talking to you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
Good. How many hours did you spend in jail?
4.5.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Wilmore?
I used to do software, now I restore houses.
Charged by the job or you charged by the hour?
Currently, it's by the job.
Is this the first time you spent any time in jail? Want to answer that question? What are you looking at her for?
It's not, I don't remember. I don't think so. I mean, I visited, yes.
I don't know what that means, Mr. Wilmore.
Driving infractions.
Driving infractions. Anything other than driving infractions,
No.
sir? Okay. So far, she owes you $1,000 in rent. That's what I figured so far. And I haven't gotten to her counterclaim yet. I haven't gotten there yet. She also owes you $500 for the aggravation of you spending time in jail, because I think that it's outrageous that she had you arrested for saying to her the sheriffs are on their way. Outrageous! An abuse of the system, an abuse of sheriff's time, an abuse of everybody's time, just nothing but retaliatory being nasty. It's going to cost her $500. All right, now we're going to get to your side. You're suing for mental distress and a refund of all the rent that you paid to the plaintiff. So let me explain this to you, Miss Stevenson. I believe people have free will and free choice. I don't want to hear that the apartment was substandard, because you live in a free country, and if you don't like the accommodations, you move out. Do you understand?
Yes.
So now you can tell me about the mental distress.
Okay, the mental distress was endured for multiple entrances by the plaintiff without notice or consent, barging in at any time, day or night, having workers illegal at that, entering my unit without consent or notice.
Move.
Move? I did.
Good. That's what you do. You move. And you don't wait 4 months to do it. Counterclaim is dismissed. On your claim, I'm awarding you $1,500. It's $1,000 for rent and $500 for the 4 hours that you spent in jail and her ridiculous complaint. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's a good judge.
I'm just so thrilled that it's over.
I respect what she had to say.
It's been a nightmare, and I'm just happy that she's out of our life.
I respect the way she handled their behavioral patterns.
She was a tenant from another planet.
Never trust an
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Michael versus White. Step forward, please.
19-year-old student Anna Michael is suing her former roommate, 20-year-old receptionist Bridget White, for the return of a computer. Bridget is countersuing, claiming Anna broke their apartment lease.
Miss Michael, you and the defendant were best friends, roommates, and it is your claim that the defendant took from you a computer that you had paid for, or mostly paid for, and you want $1,000 that you had put into the computer that she took.
Correct.
That's your claim. Ms. White says that, yes, she took the computer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the arrangement was it was going to be yours when you fully paid for it, and you still owed some $300 on the computer. When you paid the $300, the computer would be yours. Is that right?
Yes.
Till she gets her money, she's got the computer, which I assume is in good condition.
Yes.
Good. Now, Ms. White has a counterclaim. She says you stuck her with 11 months on a 12-month lease. She was able to negotiate herself out of the lease, but as a result of that, she lost her security deposit because you left.
Correct.
So she wants that money back from you since you left the apartment. And she also says that you took with you a camera that was half hers. She will explain to me. So let's take care of the computer first. Can I see the receipt for the computer? How much it cost? Total purchase, $1,314. You paid $1,000.
Correct.
So you owe her $314.38.
Correct.
Correct? So you're going to give her that and she's going to give you back the computer.
I've tried.
Do you understand?
Yes.
5 days from today's date, we will make a transfer. You will get your $314.38. She will get her computer. Is that clear?
Yes. Correct.
Oh, you're not going to get much more out of her. Correct. Correct. Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Anna Michael says former roommate Bridget White owes for the return of her computer.
Now, let's talk about this lease. How much was your security deposit?
The total security deposit was $400. I paid $266.66, and she paid $133.37.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Perfect. Now, tell me why you left.
I left because it was an unsafe environment for me.
Explain it.
Her boyfriend was living with us. He occupied the second room. He was involved with illegal activity. I did not want to live that kind of lifestyle anymore. I didn't want to put myself in that position or environment, so I left.
Well, you mean he was selling drugs or using them?
Selling them, yes. I could smell the marijuana in the room. Using them, I have no proof.
Yes, you could smell the marijuana.
Make it the other way around.
I think you meant to switch that around.
Oh.
That you could smell it, so yes, he was using it, but you don't know if he was selling it because you don't have any information about that.
Well, I saw there was money on her bed at multiple times, and it was a large sum of money, so I knew he was dealing with it.
So then both you smelled it and he was selling it, right? Smell and sell.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Michael, you said you didn't want to be involved in that lifestyle anymore. Had you been involved in that lifestyle previously?
No, ma'am.
So you misspoke when you said you didn't want to be involved.
Yes, I did
Misspeak.
misspoke.
I say you misspoke, you say yes. Did misspeak. Correct. Love this case. So did you have an argument? She told you she moved out?
She never gave me a reason. I came home at lunch and she was gone.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She called me that Friday morning at work and said, "I'm leaving."
Okay. Now, the lease was in whose name?
Hers, mine, and 2 other girls.
What about your boyfriend?
He wasn't living there.
Was he staying over?
He actually stayed for 3 days. That was a couple weeks before that.
Why did you leave?
I left because of her boyfriend.
Then why didn't you say to her, if your boyfriend comes to stay here and is going to be involved in drugs, I'm going to have to leave? Instead of just saying, I'm leaving, I'm out of here.
Well, it wasn't that easy.
Well, explain it to me.
We had a roommate, and she left on the 11th of July. And so in order to compensate for that month's rent, Bridget brought in her boyfriend, which I interpreted and was led to believe that he would pay for the rest of the money of that month. So he was living there. I did not know that he was going to be involved with legal behavior inside our room. I did not know that. So I told her I would no longer live with him, and I would not live with him through her. And because of that, I left.
All right, now talk to me about the camera.
For our birthdays, which are a week apart, her sister, who is a good friend of mine, bought us both a camera. And
It was to both of us, and when she left, she took it with her.
So you think her sister bought you a present?
No, it was for both of us. She bought us more than just the camera for our birthdays. Her sister was a good
somebody had
friend
to
of
take
mine.
the camera.
Huh?
What's huh? Somebody had to take the camera.
Yes. She actually took it. She didn't discuss anything with me, so I just said, that's fine. If you'd like it, you can pay me for half the value.
She's not going to pay you anything for the camera that her sister bought for her birthday. This is the way we're going to resolve this, ladies, and listen very carefully. You would ordinarily have to pay her, in order to get your computer back, $314. Do you understand?
Correct.
That means you pay her $314. You also owe her $266. Do you understand? She shouldn't be responsible for your skipping out. You should have made proper arrangements. When you move in to a place, you're supposed to make arrangements if you want to move out, not just to say toodaloo and the people who were there are stuck. She lost her security deposit.
So did I.
So?
What does that make? I don't. Does
So
that make
you
us
lost
equal?
your security deposit, but you caused her to lose hers also.
But she signed off on a transfer lease.
So?
I couldn't live there anymore.
I don't know where you went. Where did you go?
I was homeless for a month, for a week.
Where did you sleep?
On the floor with in my friend's room.
That's not being homeless. That's being young. Listen to me. On your counterclaim, I'm awarding you $588. That is $314 for the computer and $266 for the money that you were out as a result of this aborted lease. You will get your computer back. Clear?
Clear.
Good. That's all.
This is case number 2.
You can't be an adult to someone who doesn't want to be an adult themselves.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morin versus Baird. Step forward, please.
Photo technician Joanne Morin is suing her ex-fiancé, construction plans examiner James Baird, for the cost of a cruise ticket. James is countersuing for the return of a suit and for the cost of a vasectomy.
All right, Bert, I've read the papers in this case. Don't get comfortable. We're not going to be long. Okay. Miss Morin, you and the defendant dated. You were supposed to go on a cruise together. You couldn't go because a relative, I think your father, became ill. The defendant went with 2 of his children, but your son had paid for the cruise ticket. In any event, you say that he owes you $200. He says, more than happy to give you the $200, right? Give me back my suit that I left at your house. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the suit?
Yes, ma'am.
Give him the suit, Bert. I told you, this case has lots of little parts, but we're going to handle them all very quickly. Good. Now you have your suit. The suit goes on your side, and plaintiff gets $200. Are you happy? Good. On your side, you have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Your counterclaim is twofold. A, you wanted your suit back, you got your suit. You want her, A, to give you back the engagement ring.
Oh, the money for it, yes.
Where's the engagement ring?
I have it with me right here.
Perfect.
You want to see?
No. Goes back. Goes to his team. Happy now? Almost.
Almost.
The other part, you're not going to even be happy that you raised, sir. You want her to pay for a vasectomy that she insisted that you have because she didn't want any more children.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Did she grab you by the hand and take you to the doctor?
No, she...
Very good. Then you don't get paid for the vasectomy. You're over 21, you made a choice. If you don't like the choice, you'd have to live with it or get it reversed. Goodbye and good luck. That takes care of this.
Yeah, this is case number 344 on the calendar in the matter of Burke versus Boma.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Miss Burke, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours. It is your claim that he kicked your car. He was angry. The defendant has what is an interesting defense, which I will get to in a moment. When did this happen?
This happened on September 9th.
Don't ask me. I don't know. I wasn't
Yeah,
there.
it happened on September 9th.
Where were you?
We were driving, and it happened in a parking lot in Racine in Fazino's parking lot.
Well, tell me about it, Miss Burke. Tell me slowly.
Okay. We weren't going out at the time, so I said I was going to keep a civilized relationship and take him to find some jobs at the mall. So we went to the mall, and he got some applications, and on the way back, he was going through my CDs in the back of my car.
He was sitting in the back?
He was sitting in the back.
You were driving?
I was driving, and my witness was in the front passenger seat.
Go ahead.
So he was going through my CDs, and he stole from me in the past, so I told him to stop going through my stuff, and he refused. So I
What did he say?
he says, no, I'm not going to quit going through your stuff. So then I pulled the car over, and I said, well, then get out. And he says, no, I'm not going to get out. So then I said, okay. And I got out of the car, and I moved the seat because it's a two-door car. So I moved the seat so he could get out. And he said, if I get out, I'm going to mess up your car. And I said, okay, then get back in. So I kind of pushed him back in the car.
How did you push him?
He was halfway out of the car.
And you pushed him back in?
Because he said he was going to mess up my car. I just kind of pushed him back in the car. It was nothing serious. You know, I didn't do anything to hurt him. I just didn't want him to mess up my car. So then he got out, and then he pushed me out of the way. And then I pushed him back into the car.
Now, how did you push him back into the car?
I just kind of pushed him.
Go ahead.
And then he kicked the car, pushed me out of the way one more time, kicked the car, and ran.
Okay. Now, Mr. Boma, you acknowledge that you kicked the car.
Yes.
But you tell me your version of the events, sir.
Well,
You were going through her CDs in the back of the car.
Yes, because we were going out for about a year and a half, and I had gave her some of my CDs, and you know we was going through some difficult times, so you know we was fighting.
So you were looking for your CDs.
My CDs.
And she told you to stop, and you said no. She stopped the car. She said get out. That's where we're up to, because that you agree with.
Yes.
Okay. Now you tell me your version of the events from that point, sir.
Okay, and then as she told me to step out of the vehicle, she told me to get out. I said no. I had gave you money to take me to these places and back to my house. She said it the second time. I was trying to get out of the car, and then she had pushed me. That's when my witness came in. He seen that.
Don't tell me what he saw.
Then I got out of the car, and then she had pushed me, and then she slapped me across my face. And
she slapped you?
Yes, and then that made me angry, but I know I'm not to hit a woman. You know, I was raised really good not to hit a woman. So then after she slapped me, instead of hit a girl, taking out my frustration, I had kicked her car.
At what point did your witness come on the scene?
When he was driving down the road.
He was driving down the road. Yeah, go ahead.
And he was like a few cars behind, like about 5 cars behind.
Keep going.
And he thought that I might be with her, so he was following to see if I was with her, and then he seen that.
Don't tell me what he saw. I'm just asking you where he was.
He was coming down the same road, but he was a couple cars behind, so as I stepped out of the car.
He pulled into the parking lot.
He didn't pull in the parking lot.
He didn't?
No.
He was just driving by.
Yes, and he recognized.
He was driving by.
It was a traffic jam.
Tell me your name.
My name is Cesar Angeles. I was like 6, 7 cars behind him. I seen him driving. He called me earlier in the day. I was at the studio. And I seen him.
What studio?
Greenhouse Records. We rap, so you know.
Who raps?
Me and our crew.
What about him?
No, he's just my guy. He's my son's uncle. So I know him. And then I was following him. I seen him driving, and I was following him, and it was like a traffic jam right in Fasinos. It's a busy intersection, and I was in the traffic jam, and I seen it all happen. He was trying to get out the car, and she pushed him. She pushed him really hard and smacked him, and I was like, "Dang, what's going on?" And I looked at her, and I was like, and I was right there, right in front of Infosinos. She smacked him, and then all I seen, he smacked him, and then he said something to her and kicked her car, and then the traffic jam stopped, and I had to keep on driving, and I turned around, and then I came back and picked him up.
Step up here. Tell me your last name.
Ashman.
You were in the front passenger seat, is that right?
Yes.
Did you see Miss Burke slap the defendant?
Yes.
Of course you did. You slapped him in the face. Good girl. Have a seat. How come you left that out, Miss Burke?
It all happened so fast.
Miss Burke, how come you left that out?
I didn't mean to leave it out. I may have slapped him in the face, but I wasn't intentionally trying to slap him in the face. I was trying to push him away from me because he had pushed me.
No. You intentionally slapped somebody in the face.
I didn't intentionally slap him.
Yes. The same way you intentionally slap someone in the face, that's the same way you intentionally kick a car.
But he pushed me, and I don't appreciate
No, you pushed him first.
I didn't push him first.
Yeah,
I tried to get him back in the car.
Listen to me. You just testified that you pushed him first. That's what you testified to 2 seconds ago.
Because he threatened me.
No, he didn't.
He said he was going to mess up my car if he got out.
That's not threatening you. That's threatening your car.
Okay, he threatened my car.
That's why you put your hands on
my
him.
property.
You don't seem to understand that you can't put your hands on somebody, madam. You cannot put your hands on somebody.
He put his hands on me.
No, You put your hands on him first. And just because he's a male and you're a female, that doesn't give you an advantage. That
He
you
hit
can't-
me before.
Listen to me. I don't care about before. I care about that day and what you say to me here today.
Okay.
And if what you're telling me is what it seems that you're telling me is you're allowed to put your hands on him, but he's not allowed to put his hands on you.
No.
Well,
If somebody hit somebody, somebody should hit him back. And if somebody pushed me, he has no right to push me in a way I felt uncomfortable.
You pushed him first.
I just kind of pushed him back in the car. I didn't want him to get out and, and...
You pushed him first.
But he did agree to pay me. I have it on tape.
You pushed him first. I'm trying to get you to talk about the truth.
Okay.
And to have some understanding that you can't put your hands on somebody.
I understand that, Your Honor.
Because if you put your hands on somebody and they react badly, pay attention. You're thinking instead of listening. You are not receiving. I want you to try to receive.
I understand that.
You can't. You understand what?
I understand that I have to receive what you're telling me.
And what am I telling you?
That I have no right to touch anybody.
Because what happens if you put your hands on somebody?
They react.
And what can happen if they react?
They can kick my car.
Or hurt you.
Or hurt me.
And he chose to kick your car
He
rather
hurt me
than to
too.
slap you back.
He shook me.
Miss Burke, I think you're a fibber. Darling.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Her boyfriend tried to pound it out with a hammer.
No.
Did anybody touch this car? It looks like somebody touched this car.
I tried to push out the dent.
And she's not certified mechanic. That she's worsening the damage.
That was stupid.
And later today,
I care very much about my cat.
I don't care about you. You told her in June you were going to be coming for the cat, but you didn't go there until July. That's 6 months.
I went there several times.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Breanne Burke says ex-boyfriend Daniel Boma kicked her car. Daniel admits to it, but says it was retaliation for getting slapped in the face.
I think you're a fibber, and I think you're trying to contort this story to make it most favorable to you. Fortunately, you bring your own witness who tends to corroborate what he says. I believe he saw what he saw. This young man who, at first I said, oh, that's convenient, somebody just driving by and witnessing the whole thing. I believe him. And you don't seem to get it. You bear a responsibility. You put your hands on somebody, you're not permitted to do that. And if they react badly, you still bear a certain responsibility.
Right.
Instead of slapping you in the face, he kicked your car. Which would you prefer?
He could have slapped me in the face.
You prefer that he hit you instead of your car?
Yeah, that's going to cost so much money. And he has agreed to pay it, though. Even though he did kick it.
He agreed to pay it? Then what are you doing here?
I have it all on tape that he agreed to pay it, but he's not paying.
Pay careful attention. Oh, you mean he's not paying? He said he was going to pay for it.
He said he was, but he's not.
How much is the cost of the dent?
$900. I have the estimates right here. Would you like to see?
How old is your car?
It's a 95 Neon.
Let me see it, please.
Okay. I have pictures in the...
I would like to see the dent that he put in your car. Thank you, Bert. You mean right in the back?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that looks like 2 dents.
It was a big dent.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Sure.
What happened was, when he kicked the car, there was initially 1 dent from his foot. Her boyfriend tried to pound it out with a hammer.
No.
Did anybody touch this car? It looks like somebody touched this car.
I tried to push out the dent.
And she's not certified mechanic. That she's worsening the damage.
That was stupid.
I didn't want to drive around with a big dent in my car. It was so ugly. And he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any money. I don't see how he would have paid for it. That's why I'm taking him to court, because it needs to be fixed.
He's not going to fix this for $900.
Well,
two things. A, you are partially responsible for it. And B, because clearly there were ripples in it. And the ripples in it are from you trying to get it out. So if you made it worse, he's not, you're not losing, right? He's not going to pay for that. He's not going to pay for that. You've got to learn to do 2 things. You've got to learn to keep your temper, and you have to learn what your responsibility is. He had no right to kick your car. He acted out of temper because you hit him.
Okay.
You hit him. Now, I don't know how much it would cost to get out the 1 kick that he did put in, because right now I can't tell what he did to the car and what you did to the car. This is after you try to fix it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Do you want to hear the recordings that he left me?
Yeah. Okay. I just told you. Hear the recordings. He said, I'll fix the car, right? He said, I'll fix the car. You tried to fix the car, made it worse.
After he saw that, he told me that he was going to fix it, and he even tried to push it out. He's like, I'll push it out. We went over to his house. He said he was going to give me $100, and he even tried to push it out. He's like, let me try to push it out. I can help. I can fix
Was
it.
that before or after you did?
After.
Okay. At most, getting that one dent out of your car, if done properly at the beginning, would have cost you $600. At most, not $900, $600. Somebody takes a plunger and pulls it out of the car, and then it's finished. I believe you're half responsible for what happened to your car, because but for the fact that you hauled off and hit him, he would not have reacted. His temper would not have flared up. He's responsible for that, but so are you.
I'm responsible too. You're right.
And he's also not responsible for the additional damage that you inflicted on your car when you or your friends try to pull out the dent, push out the dent, whatever you decided to do.
Right.
So I'm awarding you $300. If you can get your car fixed for $300, so be it. Otherwise, looking at this little dent in the back, which does not prevent it from being driven, will be a constant reminder. You keep your hands to yourself.
Okay.
Because just because you're a woman does not mean you can get away with putting your hands on somebody, because you put your hands on somebody, they're gonna hit you back.
And he should keep his hands off me too, because I am a woman and he's a man. And he's been hitting me a lot in the past, and I don't appreciate that.
Would you escort me out?
Sure. Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was just really upset for the fact that she can hit me, and then, you know I can't hit her because I'm a man.
Well, you did. I think he's just mad because our whole relationship was just based on me feeling sorry for him.
Car wouldn't have got kicked, she wouldn't have touched.
Yeah, this is case number 257 on the calendar in the matter of Lamont versus Williford. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Miss Lamont, according to the complaint, the defendant is your ex-boyfriend and you claim that you loaned him some money.
Yes.
Defendant says that you actually owe him money because a while ago you wrecked his car or truck. First, tell me about this truck. You were driving his truck. Under what circumstances?
I believe it was in March of 2000.
Yes.
He drove me to Sacramento to go to court there. And on our way back, I had lived in Sacramento and I received a ticket that I had to go back and pay when I had returned to LA.
Okay.
And on the way back, he asked me to drive so he could sleep. And so I drove. And on the way back, to avoid getting in an accident, I swerved off the road and hit a guardrail.
And there was damage to his car.
Yeah. And he never asked me to fix it.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Man. Cold-hearted. She's lying, Your Honor. I'm
Are
just
you
trying.
finished?
Yeah, I'm finished. As long as you are.
We're going to have a problem.
You take any prescribed medication, sir?
No, ma'am, I ain't on no...
Quiet. You take any prescribed medication?
No, ma'am, I ain't on no prescribed medication.
You take any other kind of medication?
No, ma'am.
Then behave yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car was it that was in this accident?
A Ford Ranger.
What year?
99, I believe.
There came a time when you gave him some money towards having the car fixed, according to you. $1,500?
It actually, because I had wrecked the car and he had never asked me to repay him, I decided that when I got the money that I received in a settlement, that I would take it upon myself to take responsibility for the fact that I did crash his truck, and I gave him $1,500.
Okay, that's not the money that you're suing for.
No.
What money are you suing for?
At the same time that I gave him the $1,500, he also asked to borrow $2,000 because he had gotten into some trouble.
What kind of trouble? Doesn't surprise me.
You know, I don't exactly know, but...
What do you think? Tell me what you think, Miss Lamont.
He had gotten in trouble with the drug dealer.
And he needed $2,000.
Yes.
Did he tell you what would happen to him if he didn't give this drug dealer $2,000?
You know, I could only assume at that time from...
So you gave him the $2,000. That's the money that you're suing for.
That I loaned him, yes.
Now, you had a '99 automobile in the year 2000. Had you purchased it for payments or had you paid cash for it?
I paid payments, ma'am.
So if you made payments on the car, the bank requires that you have insurance.
That's correct.
And did you have the car fixed after it was in the accident?
Yes, ma'am. I have the papers right here to
He
show
didn't
that.
have insurance.
What?
He didn't have insurance.
Well,
he didn't have his license.
You weren't even driving. It ain't your car. You don't know.
Don't speak to her. Remember what I said. Mr. Williford tells me he had insurance, which he must do by law if he's got a financed car. Isn't that right, Bert?
That's absolutely right, Judge.
And I assume that if you had a financed car, they allow you to have some sort of a deductible, usually $500. Is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So you had out-of-pocket expense of $500. Is
No,
that
that's wrong.
Well, how could it be wrong, sir? That's the way insurance works.
Well, I didn't go through insurance, man, because she was an unlicensed driver, and she had made the promise to me that she was going to pay me back the damage. Here's the
That's a lie,
estimate
Your
for my
Honor.
car.
No.
She was going
That's
to pay
what
me.
you have insurance for, Mr. Williford.
Yeah, but then your insurance claims go up. I gotta pay more per month. It wasn't worth it. I'd rather pay the cash and get it fixed at the dealership.
Is that what you did?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. And that's what your choice was. If you asked the plaintiff to drive your car, and according to you, you knew she was an unlicensed driver, then you took that risk. And if you choose not to go through your insurance, she would certainly be liable for the $500 deductible, because that would have been your out-of-pocket expense. You chose not to do that. Now, in addition to the $1,500 that she gave you to fix the car, you said she gave you another $2,000. What do you claim that was for, Mr. Williford?
I had the $2,000 that she gave me was for fixing my car, a down payment towards the $4,800 total damage. I don't know about no $1,500. I only know about $2,000.
Your Honor, I have the return check
May
to
I
me.
see it, please?
It's for $3,100, and also and these are the
Well,
statements.
$2,000 and $1,500 does not add up to $3,100. Even I know that.
My money was in my mom's account. Since I had already given him $400, I was only going to give him $1,100 to total $1,500 for what I was giving him, plus the $2,000 he wanted to borrow.
I got you. To the best of your knowledge, has Mr. Williford had any other trouble with drug dealers?
Probably. That was his lifestyle.
Even when you were together?
I had moved away to Sacramento, and in that time, 6 months period, when I came back, he was a total different person.
Different, not for the better?
No.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Williford?
I'm a musician, ma'am.
You work regularly?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
Different studios. I'm working on recording a demo right now.
Is there any record that you ever made that Bird might have heard of?
A record that I made that Bert might have heard of? No, ma'am, I haven't released anything yet.
So who pays you?
My corporation that I work with, people that I'm talking to.
And what kind of musician are you?
I'm a rapper, ma'am.
Bird and I don't know about that.
Oh, man, you're missing out. You don't know, hip-hop is live.
I know. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good. Let's go. Everything's all good, man. I'm taking care of my life. I'm going on. It's all good.
Yeah, I needed to get the money that I helped him out with, and he needs to take responsibility for it.
Probably be a loser.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kaufman versus Hollett. Step forward, please.
Former bartender Nikki Kaufman is suing her former friend, 24-year-old cook Timothy Hollett, for trashing her car while he was drunk. Timothy says Nikki is also responsible because she was the one who served him the booze.
All right, I'm going to give you the short version of what I gather happened here. I want you to listen carefully, and unless there is any major discrepancy, we're just going to move on. You work in a bar as a bartender. You know the defendant. He must have been a friend of yours because he came to the bar that evening driving your car. He was in the bar all evening. When the bar closed or when they decided to leave, he got into some difficulty. He went outside, got into your car, and trashed your car. I don't care how he trashed your car. He trashed your car. So far, is that correct, Mr. Hollett?
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Hollett acknowledges that he trashed your car. And he acknowledges he trashed your car because he was drunk. Is that right, sir?
That's correct.
His defense is that you, as the bartender, served him too much liquor. And therefore, it is your fault that he got into the car and trashed it. What do you do for a living?
I'm a cook in a five-star restaurant.
Why would you want to blame somebody else for your stupidity?
I'm not necessarily blaming anybody, Your Honor. I'm just saying I do take responsibility for the actions that I've done.
Perfect!
I'm just saying, though, also I think that my judgment would have been clearer if I was not that intoxicated.
I absolutely agree with you, Mr. Hollett. So a 24-year-old man who works as a chef in a 5-star restaurant should know when they've had their limit.
Sometimes,
You're
yes,
not
Your Honor.
7. What do you mean sometimes?
Sometimes.
There's
just
nothing
go.
genetically wrong with you, is there?
Not that I know of.
Can I see the cost of repair for your car, please, Ms. Kaufman? What kind of car do you have?
A 97 Chevy Malibu.
Have any insurance?
Yes, I do.
What kind of deductible do you have?
500.
Mr. Hullett owes you $500. That's your deductible?
Yes.
That's fair, isn't it, Mr. Hullett?
Sounds reasonable.
Sounds reasonable to me, too. Thank you. That's all.
Your Honor, this is case number 286 on the calendar in the matter of Hilton versus McElroy. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Ms. Hilton, the defendant is a friend of your current boyfriend's, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that for some bizarre reason, she vandalized your car. You were not present when that happened, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And yet you believe that she did it. The defendant says she had no reason to vandalize your car and she didn't do it. Boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's he?
He's a friend of her boyfriend's.
Who saw her vandalize your car?
Joseph.
Joseph, step up, please. Joseph, what's your last name?
Guillory.
Mr. Guillory, I want you to tell me, start from the beginning, sir, and tell me what you know about this evening, which is the 25th of July, 2002.
Okay. Me and Andrea and my friend Dre and another girl named Bridget, we went to the club called the Hurricane Hut. We were all having a good time. We had a few drinks. And after the club, we came back to my stepmom's house. We were playing a sex game.
A what?
A sex game.
Sex game?
Right. It was called the authorization game. And Andre asked me, can he mess with Andrea?
Andre asked you
Right.
if he could mess with this lady.
Right.
Why would he ask your permission?
Because we was playing an authorization game.
Oh, that's
You had
part
to
of the
ask for
game.
it. It's part of the game.
Go ahead.
And I said, yeah. So, and I had to ask her, can I mess with her friend, Bridget? And so they were messing around, and we were messing around. She looked over and saw me. Well, she saw Bridget sliding up and down on me and thought we were having sex, but we wasn't. And she got mad, and she said she was fisting to go. And I said, well, I'm fisting to go too. She said, well, where are you going to spend the night tonight? I said, I'm going home to Dolly.
To this lady?
Right. She got mad and said, oh, you going home to that? And so they walked out.
Who walked out?
Andrea and Bridget. So I proceeded to walk out too, but I was like about 3 or 4 minutes behind them. So I just happened to look out the window and I seen her keying up the car.
Keying whose car?
Dolly's car.
You mean you had driven her car that evening? You didn't tell me
No,
about
her car
it.
was parked in the parking lot. And we took my homeboy's car, but when we came back, yeah, Dolly's car was still there.
So you drove her car over to this apartment complex where
Right.
you proceeded to go out for the
Get another
evening
car.
drinking in another car and then come back to your stepmom's house,
Right.
have sex with a whole bunch of other people, and then you were going to go back to her house with her car. Was that your plan?
Right.
And when you came out, you saw her car in the parking lot, and you saw her doing what?
She was keying the car and her friend Bridget was right behind her.
What do you mean you saw her keying the car?
Well, I couldn't see what she had in her hand, but she was just going down the car with,
No, it wasn't. Okay, so what did you do next?
So I proceeded to go outside, but by the time I got all the way to the car, she already had then walked away and hit me on the cell phone, called me on the cell phone. And she said,
called you on the cell phone?
Right. She said, I don't know who black car this is, but I just did up. And I said, why did you do that? And I told her, don't call me no more. She kept calling my phone saying, don't tell her, don't tell her. I said, why not? And she said, well, tell her somebody else did it.
Or else I'm going to tell Dolly what you were doing this evening.
I didn't even know her.
Right. So she kept begging me to tell us that somebody else did it, but I wouldn't do it.
Now I'll hear you.
That night that we went out, it was on the 24th. It was the night before the 25th. We all met at his house. We were all hanging out in the bedroom, watching TV and stuff like that. There was no sex game going on. His friend came on to me, and I said no. And I seen him messing with my friend, and she said she felt uncomfortable. She walked away and told me, and I said, okay, we're leaving. And he said, why are you leaving? And I was like, because you're putting our relationship I didn't like where he was putting the relationship.
What relationship?
We weren't together, but we had a relationship. We were seeing each other.
How were you seeing each other? Were you
He'd come
intimate
and
with
visit
each
me
other?
when I lived in Austin. He came and spent the night at my house. It was an intimate relationship.
Was it intimate in the month of July of 2002?
Yes, it was. It has been for about 3 years.
Okay,
up
go
until
ahead.
that day. I've only met this girl one time, Dolly. I've only seen her car, I think, in passing, and I couldn't tell you what kind of car it was. The night that we came back, there was no big fight. There was no misunderstanding, no argument.
I just told him I didn't like where he was putting our relationship, and I didn't want to talk to him anymore. So me and my friend Bridget, we left. We got in her car and we left. He called me asking me to come back. And we had some words on the phone, and then I got to my house, and that's when she called me. He went and told her that I keyed her car, and she called me telling me all kinds of stuff, that I need to watch myself, that she's going to beat my butt or whatever. And
what does he have to do with all this?
Because he's his friend. JoJo went and told him one day that he didn't know who keyed his car.
Step up. Tell me your name.
Q Logan.
Mr. Logan, tell me what you know about this. You clearly weren't there that evening, but did you at some point, she says, have a conversation with Mr. Guillory?
Yes, ma'am. The day after it happened, and he said that he didn't see it. He said he saw her standing near his car. He was in the window. He was inside the house.
Yes.
In the window, he looked out the window.
So what did he say to you?
He said he seen her standing near the car, but since he was going to try to sue her, he was going to tell the court that he seen her key the car, which in essence, if you seen someone keying your car, wouldn't you try to go out there and stop them?
I was going outside.
It takes more than 2 or 3 minutes to key the word in somebody's paint job.
So who do you think did that?
I have no idea who did it, but JoJo takes her car at all times of the night. She has no say-so where she can drive her own car. He drops her off at work.
You mean Dolly?
Yes. She pays all the bills. The only thing, the apartment is in his name. He goes where he wants, when he wants. He quit his job because he did not want to pay the amount that they wanted him to pay in child support. So he quit and went to his old job.
What child support? Who does he have a child with?
He has a child with another girl, not Dolly. He quit his job.
Not Dolly, not this lady.
No.
How old is the child?
Maybe about 2 years old.
So he had a relationship with somebody else while he was having a relationship with you. Is there at least one other that you know about?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And
So.
What?
But see, I knew about it, and I'm not a jealous person. I met that girl that was pregnant by him, and I took her over there to meet him. I never overreacted about anything like that. We had an open relationship, so I don't understand why he would say that I would key his car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's what I would say to him. But for your antics, my car would be okay. I'm 100% sure of that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dolly Hilton says her boyfriend's ex, Andrea McElroy, keyed her car. Dolly's boyfriend, Joseph, says Andrea was angry over a sexual game they played with a group of friends.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a cook.
Are you working now?
Yes, I am. I was working 2 jobs.
Are you? You pay child support?
Yes, I do.
But he quit his job making $40,000 a year to go back to working as a cook at
No,
KFC.
that's not why I quit my job.
Yes, it is. You told me it was.
He told all of us it was.
What's your current child support order?
160, and I gave her 20 more
160 a what?
a month.
How much do you earn at your job, working 2 jobs, sir?
No, I was working 2 jobs. I let one go I was working on the water offshore, and I was working at KFC too, both of them.
How much do you make now?
How much do I make now? About $1,300 a month.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Hilton?
I drive a school bus.
You have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children do you
I
have?
have 2.
Who pays the rent in your house?
I pay rent, and he also helps pay bills.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to pay for your car. You want to know why? Because I'm not 100% sure she did it, but I'm 100% sure of this, that but for his actions, you wouldn't have any trouble with your car. I'm 100% sure of that.
Your Honor, she...
No, listen to me. I'm 100% sure of that.
No.
I know that I'm not convinced by the required quantum of proof that I need to be convinced by that she keyed your car. I am, however, 100% convinced that but for him, according to his own testimony, your car would not have been placed at risk. Because let's see what he did. He took your car to go out with a bunch of other friends to a club without you. Now that may be okay. Let's say that's okay. That you said, listen, you want to go out for an evening, go out for an evening.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that you would say go out for an evening with an old girlfriend or a girlfriend who we had been intimate with for 3 years. Can't believe that he actually told you that. But maybe he did. Maybe I'm that old-fashioned. But let's say he didn't tell you. And then from the club, he went back to somebody's house where, according to him, they decided to have a party and play sex games. That's according to him. She said it didn't happen. But let's say I believe him. And it all got very unseemly. And then she got annoyed and she went outside. And maybe she keyed your car, and maybe it was the mother of some other one of his children who keyed your car. Maybe it was somebody else. But one thing I know for sure, but for his total lack of morality, your car would not have been damaged. So he's going to pay for it. He's going to pay for it. And I suggest that you make up your mind. Either he pays for your car and you say to, because that's what I would say to him, but for your antics, my car would be okay. So either get your behind out of here, away from my 2 children, because you are nothing but a lowlife, and I don't want you, Mr. Lowlife, near my children, or fix my car and straighten up. You got it? Your case is dismissed. Period. End of discussion.
She's got nude pictures of herself laying all over Houston.
If he wouldn't have come in here and tried to lie, I'm sure things could have been worked out.
She was trying to act like a good girl. We got pictures right here showing she was a bad girl, butt naked and stuff.
Now, this is case number 356 on the calendar in the matter of Koch versus Ringenberg, Buban, Fagan. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Which one of you gentlemen is Brad? All right. So what I want you to do is stand right over there. That's it. Now, Miss Koch, according to what I read, you had a friend, Kathy. Is Kathy here? You are his mother.
Correct.
Brad's mother. Kathy was visiting you at your house, and she at some point wanted to go home and check on her kids. So you said she could borrow your car to do that, as long as she brought it right back. Correct?
Correct.
Kathy goes home, and she decides to let her son drive the car back to your house. So far, that's what you did. You let your son drive the car back to her house.
To pick up my car.
I don't care what it was.
Not to check on my kids. To get my car so I could have it back at her house.
Whatever. You let your son drive the car back to her house. Is that right?
To follow me, to have my car.
Whatever. He could have followed your car. He could have been driving your car.
He did.
So who was driving her car?
He did. I was in my car. He drove her car, followed me back to her
Did you
house.
understand what I said? Try to pay attention. I said you could have let him be the driver of your car and you drove her car back. But you didn't do that. You let him drive her car. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, at some point, he decides to stop off and pick up a couple of friends. Is that right, Brad?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
And there goes the trouble. Because by the time your car was returned to you, much later on, it was totally undrivable. Had blown a transmission, and some other stuff happened to the car. There's where we are. And I want you gentlemen now to be very, very brief, because I've read all of your answers. Not to worry, Ms. Koch, we're going to get to you. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe it's necessary, and maybe it won't be necessary. Okay. Because, you know, my credo is keep it simple, stupid. That's what my father always said to me, so I'm going to try to keep this as simple for myself as possible. In 30 seconds or less, you tell me how her car ended up in the junk pile.
I went and picked him up, and we went back to her house.
Went back to whose house?
Connie's house.
All right, so you went back to her house, but you had stopped off to pick up these 2 gentlemen.
Yes, Your Honor.
Where was your mother?
She was at home.
Your mother was home. That's interesting. I thought you said she was in her car. All right, but we'll let that pass for a moment. So you stop off to pick up the 2 guys. And what happens after you pick up the 2 guys?
We went to Connie's house, and I took the keys inside.
Look at me.
I took the keys inside, and I put it on the table right in front of her.
And then what were you going to do?
And I went back outside, and we were stuck there.
What do you mean we were stuck there? What did that mean, you were stuck there?
We didn't have a ride nowhere.
Well, didn't you realize that once you drove the car back to Connie's house, you weren't going to have a ride anywhere unless, of course, your mother, who says she was following you.
I thought my mother was there, but she went home.
But she went home. She was just driving around. Maybe she had to mail a letter or something. Yeah. Go ahead. So now you're standing outside and you have no ride home. What's next?
Look
at me.
Matt went inside.
Matt, raise your hand. Matt went inside.
And he said he was going to ask for the keys.
Who did you ask for the keys?
Connie, but she was sleeping, so I just...
Oh, now, so you asked her, but she was sleeping.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to explain to me how you... Please don't laugh at him. Bird's going to laugh at him. So you were going to ask Connie for the keys, and you asked her for the keys, but she was sleeping.
Yes.
So what did you do? Did you do telepathy?
I just grabbed them and
Went outside.
So you had no permission to have the car. Is that right? Now, when you got outside, what did you say to your two friends?
Let's go to Polk City and...
Excuse me?
I asked Brad to go drop me and Luke off in Polk City and go back out there, but...
But what?
We ended up staying at my house for a while. And
Who?
Us three.
How long?
An hour, maybe.
And then what happened?
Me and Luke drove around for a little bit, got some gas, and the car stalled.
Okay, where'd you leave him?
My house with a few other friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, let's understand this. You had no permission to have the car, is that right? Is that right?
Yes.
And you had no permission to be in the car, is that right? After you had dropped it off?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what about you?
No.
No what?
No, I didn't have permission to be in the car.
Who was driving?
Matt.
Did you ever drive the car?
No, Your Honor.
Now, did Matt tell you that he didn't have permission to have the car?
He told me we did have permission.
He did?
Yes.
What did he say to you?
Well, me and Brad were sitting outside of Connie's house, and he went inside and got the keys and comes out and says that, you know, let's go. And he didn't say that he had permission, but, you know, he said, let's go. And
Oh, so he didn't say he had permission. Is that right?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You knew. Now, tell me about your car. What happened to it? They just say it stopped.
It was 70 miles away when the transmission blew from my home.
70 miles?
And then I came back home and I went file a police report. And they...
Just tell me what the damage was to the car. That's my question.
No, my damages are $3,490. There's a towing charge, there's attorney fees, and unused insurance, but...
I just want to see what the damage was to the car.
The matter is all I need.
How old are you?
16.
You're 16. Oh, how old are you?
17.
7. And you?
16.
16. Oh, this makes my life so much easier.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You listen to me.
Her keys were put on that table.
No, listen
Somebody
to me.
came in that house.
Oh, yeah.
Those keys came back
Madam,
on
you
that
are
counter.
a liar.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Connie Coates says teenagers Brad Buban, Matt Regensburg, and Luke Fagan drove her car without permission. Connie says the boys damaged the transmission, then abandoned it 70 miles away.
You know how I like to keep things simple? I want you to move over there. I'd like you to step up here. Your name is Kathy what?
Boobin.
Step up here. Let her stand next to her prize. Son says that you didn't follow him to her house so that you could give him a ride back. And I believe him because that's what they say. Why didn't you do that?
I just picked up my car so I could leave Connie's when I felt when I was wanting to go home.
Well, just 1 second, madam. She didn't give your son permission to drive her car.
She gave both of us.
No, she did not. No, she did not.
Back.
Excuse me?
Someone's got to drive my car, which is me.
No, not you, which is him. Don't you get it? That's what I said to you before. If somebody's going to drive a car that doesn't belong to them, it's going to be you, not him. So he drives your car, and you drive her car.
That's probably how it should have been done.
Right. Because but for that, this whole thing wouldn't have happened. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, everybody knows 16-year-old boys and cars don't mix. They're fools. And when they have friends, they're bigger fools. Now, you should have anticipated that. You didn't. Therefore, I am not holding these two boys' parents responsible. I'm holding you responsible for the whole thing. Because I'm holding him responsible for the whole thing. You want to go after them? Sue him. If he came before me, you'd be totally unsuccessful. But for your actions, you're the adult. He never would have had his hands on the keys to her car. You got it? Now, if the boys had gone into her house and you had nothing to do with that, and each one of the boys told me the same story, he got the keys, he drove the car with them, he was also a passenger who knew what was going on, and you had nothing to do with it, all three of you would be equally responsible. But in this case, you were the one who controlled the keys to that car. If you had done the right thing and said, follow me back, I'm taking Connie's car, you drive my car, when we get to Connie's house, going inside, I'll be right out. You put Connie's keys someplace where Connie can get her keys if she's sleeping, you come outside, you say, now drive me home.
That's what happened.
No, it's not what happened. You were not driving Connie's car.
He put him on the table.
You listen to me. You were not driving Connie's car back to her house. He was. He should have been driving your car, not Connie's car. You want to give a 16-year-old permission to drive a car and to pick up friends? Let it be your car, not your friend's car. She was doing you a service. Judgment for the plaintiff against this defendant only in the amount of $3,000. And if you think you can prove a case against the parents of these two boys, you go ahead and try. You will be unsuccessful here because you had the ability, you're the adult, you had the ability to ensure that her car got home safely, and you chose not to do that. These parents didn't. They had no idea what was going on. Only you did.
Her keys were left on her
Only
counter.
you did. You had the ability to see to it that her car was returned to her house
It was
safely.
returned in her driveway.
No, it wasn't.
And her keys were put on that table.
No, listen
Somebody
to me.
came in that house.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
took those
you
keys
can tell
off
me,
that table.
Shh, put
Your
that
Honor.
down. You can tell me anything that you like, and I'm telling you, you had the responsibility to see
And
to
I
it
did
that
it.
yours.
And it came back. Those keys came back
Madam,
on
you
that
are
counter.
a liar. Your
I'm not
son
lying.
says
There's
you
nothing to lie
are a
about.
liar. I believe you're a liar. Your son just told me you're a liar. He just told me that you never followed him back to her house to drive him home because they were there stranded. And you said, I followed him back there, which is a lot of baloney. So you're a liar, you're responsible. Judgment for the plaintiff against this defendant only, $3,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm not a liar.
All I know is my police report says that Kathy admitted to knowing that they were taking the vehicle.
It put a strain on Connie because she was without a car.
I'm still without a vehicle.
I carted her around. I tried to be very helpful.
I've gotten nowhere. They were said, please don't press charges. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it fixed.
I was a good neighbor. She's been a good neighbor. It's what neighbors are supposed to do.
And now the next case.
All parties on Moeller versus Stevens. Step forward, please.
Commercial pilot Doug Moeller is suing his neighbors, Roger and Jackie Stevens, and their son, 17-year-old Brian. Doug says Brian purposefully damaged his daughter's bicycle. The Stevens are countersuing for the cost of a bike and damage to their screen door.
Mr. Moeller, it is your claim that the defendant's son damaged your daughter's bike.
That's correct.
The defendant says that he caused no damage to the bike, and they are counterclaiming because they say that their daughter's bike was stolen from your backyard and it's your fault. B, that your son tore a hole in their screen door. You weren't there during this bike incident?
No, ma'am, I wasn't.
I'd like you to sit down.
Okay.
And your children up here. Now, you weren't present either, is that right?
Correct.
So you can sit down, leaving the alleged perpetrator standing. When did this happen?
Around midsummer last year.
Tell me about the day.
We went over to see my cousin that we always play with.
You have to speak up because I can't hear you. Tell me your first name.
Timothy Moeller.
All right, Timothy, keep your voice up. You hear the way I'm talking?
Yeah.
Try to do it.
Okay.
Good. Okay, go ahead.
Brian started jumping up and down on the bike.
That's Brian.
Yeah.
What were you doing on the bike?
I was sitting on it. I've never seen a bike like that before, so I was testing out the shocks.
Testing out the shocks.
Right.
And how, Brian, were you testing out the shocks?
I bounced up and down on the seat a couple times and lifted the front tire off the ground about 2 inches and then let it go.
It was a girl's bike, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
It was a boy's bike.
Yeah.
Big or little?
It was big. It was a 20-inch.
Your Honor, could I give you a photograph of the bicycle as
Yes,
evidence?
I'd like to see it.
This is a photograph of the bicycle with a bicycle license, and it shows that these are actually children's bicycles. Quite a bit smaller than an adult would be riding.
Mm-hmm. Small?
I didn't think it was.
Small?
Okay.
Okay. Who told you could get on the bike?
Nobody.
Can I see the wheel, please? How old are you?
17.
So,
I was 16
get a job
at
and
the
pay for the wheel. Wheel's all bent. Wheel's all bent. Would you step up, sir? Okay. We'll make very quick work of this part of the case. Your son got on a bike without permission, tested out the springs, didn't ride it the way it was supposed to be ridden, and they say as a result of that the wheel was broken. So?
Well, according to my witness, my daughter and my son, when he got off, it was still on the kickstand. She got back on it. She rode home on it. We felt that if he had done it, she would have went home. If she'd have done it right then, she'd have went home and told her father, hey, Brian just damaged my bike. But the story that we got is that the next day or so, he noticed the damage, came to the children and said, what happened to your bike? We're not sure. We think maybe when Brian was on it, you know, and so we just don't feel that he did it. It may have happened later.
Well, what you feel is irrelevant.
Okay.
Relevant facts are he got on a bike without permission. He was testing the shocks.
Okay.
He's a big boy. He jumped up and down. I mean, at least he's telling the truth. Now, when you went to ride the bike home, did you see anything different in riding the bike?
The bicycle wheel was rubbing up against the side of the bike.
And did you feel that before he had gotten on the bike to test it?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Okay, so now I need the bill. I mean, it's not malicious, it's not terrible, but you pay the bill. $106, is that what it cost?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now, let's get, what?
Your Honor, could I speak for just a second, please?
Sure.
What we've heard here is in a large part a fabrication. In fact, I'd like to call Michelle Stevens as a witness, if I could, please,
Just a
Brian.
second, sir, you just won your case. Why do you have to call
Well,
anything?
I know, but there's a little bit more than $106 involved here.
What?
It cost me $27 to file this in small claims court in Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
And there was more damage to it than just the wheel. The handlebar extensions were damaged, the pedals were damaged, the bicycle seat was torn up.
But I asked for the bill to fix
Yeah,
it.
you got the bill.
You
That's
got
correct.
the bill, $106.40.
That's correct.
That's the bill that you gave me.
That's correct.
So?
Well, I guess that's the end of the story then.
That's the end of the story.
All right.
You just
Okay.
won. Sit.
Very good.
This is not a major toxic waste pollution case.
I
This is
understand.
a bent bicycle wheel. All right, let me get to the bottom line of your case, which I've read. Let me see if I understand it. Your daughter was playing over at their house. The plaintiff wanted to go someplace. And according to you, he said to the kids, why don't you just put the bikes in the backyard? The daughter put her bike in their backyard. The bike was stolen. And based on that, you believe it's his fault.
His responsibility.
No, that's wrong. How old is your daughter?
13,
So she had the capacity to say, I'm going to go put my bike in my garage?
which she did. And he said, no, just put it in our backyard. We won't be gone very long. And both of the girls' bicycles got stolen.
You want to go further and tell me about this torn screen?
This is just
When did that
what I
happen?
get from the kids. This was last summer.
Did you tear the screen in Mr. Stevens' house?
No, ma'am.
You have a witness with regard to the torn screen?
Yes. My
I'll
son.
hear you, Brian.
I was inside the house, and these two kids and my sister were inside, and I was trying to watch TV, and they were being loud, so they went outside. I locked the door, so they were locked out. I heard a noise at my window, and I opened the curtain, and Timothy was there with a stick poking a hole through.
Did you poke a hole through the screen? Did you replace the screen?
No, but I have an estimate to have it replaced.
You went through a whole summer with a screen with a hole in it from a stick?
Yes, ma'am.
Get a patch. I can understand why you're aggravated, but it's unfortunate that people who had a rather pleasant relationship have any tension because of this. That's your fault. They're all a lot younger than you are. So the first thing that happened was you locked your sister and her two friends out of the house because you wanted to watch television in peace. Is that what happened with the screen? Stupid. Then you got on a bike, jumped up and down on the bike, not your bike, and bent the wheel. Bent the wheel. Also, stupid. As a result of that, two families, which had, I assume, gotten along reasonably well together if you let your daughter go with the plaintiff before, have any kind of friction now. Very, very stupid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $133. The counterclaim's dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Johnson versus White. Step forward, please.
23-year-old accounting clerk Kendra Johnson is suing her ex-boyfriend, truck driver DeBario White, for unpaid loans and for the cost of a tuxedo rental.
Miss Johnson, you and the defendant were dating for a while, according to your complaint. You say he owes you for three things. First, he owes you for a $100 loan that you made so that he could turn on his cell phone. Then you claimed that you invited him to be your escort to a wedding, and he owes you for the tux. And the final thing, I believe, was a Visa bill for a restaurant. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. And also, there were some shoes that were purchased as well. I have receipts for those.
Shoes for the tuxedo?
No, shoes for his children.
Okay. Mr. White says that he owes you for absolutely nothing. You paid for these things for a variety of reasons. Is that right?
Everything was gifts, correct.
So let's start with the first loan that you claim you made to Mr. White. When was that?
Last year, around middle summer, end of summer, 2000.
Middle summer, end of summer. I need a date.
August.
No, don't guess and tell me. Think.
It was in August. I don't remember which exact day.
And how long had you been dating him when you made this loan?
I had just met him, maybe 2 months I'd been dating, if that.
And why did he need money?
Well, he said that he needed the money to turn on his cell phone so I can get in touch with him. He had no other form of contact for me to call him. He lived with his parents at first, then his brother, which he claimed that I was not allowed to call there, living with family. They didn't want, there were other children, his brother's children. So, no other form of contact. Can you help me find, if I'm supposed to be in a relationship with you and I care about you, that's something I'm going to do to help you.
So what did he say? You gave me a whole story. What did he say? I don't have a cell phone? Well, my cell phone was turned off?
My cell phone got turned off. I later found out it was in his sister's name.
He said, my cell phone got turned off and?
I need money to pay to turn it back on.
And you said okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So you gave him the money?
Yes, I gave him the money.
Good, that was in August?
Yes.
Is that right?
No, that's not, Your Honor.
Well, so tell me your version of the events.
You
couldn't be much worse than hers.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything about a loan.
I met this woman at work. We worked together for quite some time at NIH, and she had a crush on me, okay?
Listen.
So...
Mr. White, I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
Cell phone.
Right.
Let's get to the cell phone.
Mm-hmm. My cell phone did get cut off, and she was complaining that she wasn't able to talk to me. You know, I was like, well, I got a lot of bills right now. You know, I don't have time to turn my cell phone on. She said, I'll give you the money. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. You know, later on,
So she gave you the $100?
She gave me the $100, correct.
And you turned on your cell phone?
I turned the cell phone on.
That sounds right. Right?
No, ma'am. He did not turn the cell phone on.
He didn't?
There was more money that was owed on the cell phone.
So he didn't turn the cell phone on?
No, he did not.
Well, in that case, she must have knew my bill then, right? I mean, she gave me the money. She just gave me $100. How'd she know it was more money owed on the bill?
Did you turn your cell phone on?
Yes, I did.
I mean, around the time that she gave you the money?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to contact him?
No, ma'am, not by that cell phone, by other phone numbers, family's phone numbers,
Well,
etc.
this was in August that you gave him the $100. You didn't do what he was supposed to do with the $100. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kendra Johnson claims ex-boyfriend DeBario White owes for unpaid loans and for a tuxedo rental.
Now, when did you invite him to participate with you in this wedding?
October 20th.
So after he misled you in August and September, then you said to him, would you go to a wedding with me?
Yes.
Smart.
I was still dating him at the time, so
Listen, that's your choice. Did you ever say to him, where's the $100? Where's the cell phone?
I did. He said, well, I'm in and out, job here, job there. I promise I'll pay you back. We're in a relationship. I'm good for it.
I don't believe he said that to you, Miss Johnson, at all.
No, I did.
Miss Johnson, I don't believe he said that to you at all. I'm watching your face. I'm a real good judge of that.
That's right.
Okay. I don't need your validation, sir.
Okay.
Now let's get to tuxedo. You were invited to a wedding in October. You asked him to be your escort. He needed a tuxedo. Tell me about it.
Originally, he went with me to get fitted for the tux.
You invited him to be your date.
That's
and
correct.
he said what?
He would.
Good. So you went for the tux.
I put the down payment for the tux, which was $30 to be fitted.
Right.
Later on, I had spoke with him here and there. We didn't get to the rehearsal. He didn't know what was going on. The day of the wedding, I called him. He called me, said that he needed to get a hair shape up and that he would be able to meet me. I picked him up. He says, I don't have the tux yet. I said, well, the wedding's in 20 minutes. It's closer to him than from me. He said, well, I don't have any money. I have no way to pick up the tux. If you want me to be in the wedding, you need to buy the tux.
So you did?
I did.
Good.
Later on.
Did you dance with him at the wedding?
We didn't get to be in it because he was late since he had to get his hair cut. I never got to walk. I never got to be in it at all. I was there when they were walking out.
Now, Miss Johnson, my next question is, when was the visa bill that you claim he signed for when you went out for dinner? Was that before the tux or after the tux?
That was before the tux.
Before the tux. So that was in September?
The date's on the receipt.
It
I
was
don't
much
have the receipt.
earlier than that. Much
I have
earlier
it,
than
ma'am.
that.
Can I see it?
Sure.
That was like our first date that she took me out on, and she paid for
It's September
dinner.
6, 2001.
9/6.
Those are other receipts as well.
September 6th. So tell me about September 6th.
There was a place called the Oasis in Silver Spring, Maryland. Somewhere he had been with family. He said it was a really nice place. You can dance. There's comedy. There's you can sit down and have something to eat. Never been there before. He took me there. We danced a little bit. We had something to eat. We talked. We mingled. There was another party or something. I met some people. And later they give me the receipt for the food purchased. And I'm looking at this as, I didn't sign this. That's not my signature. Apparently he signed my signature.
So?
It's against the law. You can't do that.
So? If it's against the law, either you say that I'm giving back my credit card because I didn't authorize payment for this. You don't invite him to be your date for a wedding a month later.
That's correct. However,
well, you did.
When they handed me the receipt, when you go out to eat, I had like a little handbag, you know, something you carry when you go out. I immediately just put the receipt in my bag because not knowing to look at it. And then later on, I went through all my receipts and I kept them just in case I needed it.
Your Honor, she told me go up and pay for the bill. She gave me the credit card. I signed her name and everything. That's not, against the law. She gave me permission when we sat down.
I didn't say it was against the law. Ms. Johnson is grasping at straws.
Right. She told me go and pay for the bill.
I don't need your validation. I also don't want to hear your voice because it sounds to me as if you were taking financial advantage of this lady. Did you ever take her out for dinner?
No, not really. I wasn't.
No, not really. So you never took her out for dinner? Did you ever give her any money?
On occasion.
Give me an example.
Money here and there when we go out.
Like what?
As far as like drinks or something, if we go out dancing or something like that. But no, not really. I ain't spend no big money on her.
I'm not talking about big money. I'm asking you went on a date. Did you pay?
Not really, because she wanted to pay for everything. She wanted to pay for everything, Okay.
All right, listen. You must be absolutely wonderful. Miss Johnson, these were not loans, madam. You didn't make any loans to him. And if you came here and said he signed a credit card and it was an unauthorized use of my credit card and I never saw him again because he's an untrustworthy bum, then I would say to you, oh, maybe you got a case. But you give him $100. Listen to what you did. You give him $100 to turn on his cell phone. He doesn't turn on his cell phone. Then you go out for dinner together. According to you, if I was to believe what you're telling me, he went into your pocketbook, took your credit card. When you were someplace else, he paid the bill with your credit card. You got the receipt, right? Realized that he had forged your name to a bill, right? What did you do? Call the police? No. Tell him to take a walk? No. You invite him to go to a wedding with you. Then, the last minute, you go to have a fitting for the tuxedo. You put down the $30 for the tuxedo. Not him, you. And then you wonder why Mr. Irresponsible over here wasn't ready to go to the wedding. I mean, the wedding's in 2 minutes, and then he says to you, I don't have my clothes. I'm going to go like the emperor, right, with no clothes. You tolerated it. That's your problem. Get over it. Put a period. Forget it. Mr. White, you must have something that I don't see. Case dismissed.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Walkling versus McKnight. Step forward, please.
22-year-old waitress Brandy Walkling is suing manufacturing laborer Shane McKnight for the cost to repair her car. Shane says the damage was the result of a freak accident.
Miss Walkling, you do not know the defendant. Is that correct?
Correct. No, I serve him every once in a while in the bar I work in.
But other than that, you have no relationship with him whatsoever.
Right.
It is your claim that his car hit and damaged your car.
Correct.
I want you to tell me when that happened.
That happened on March 8th.
Where?
In the parking lot at the bar that I work at.
What time?
I get off work about 1:30, 1:45 a.m.
Tell me what happened.
I walked out of the bar, just got off work, and I noticed the rear end of his car was like sitting about this far from the side of my car, which I'll show pictures in a minute. And it was running, and the reverse lights were on, and the keys were in it, obviously, and it was locked. And so I didn't know what to do. So we went and we got the police, and eventually Shane came back, and he went through the parking lot a couple times, obviously, because he had been drinking. And he had claimed that his car had went from this point in the parking lot here and reversed itself all the way into my car while he was gone getting his extra set of keys.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 22-year-old waitress Brandy Walkling is suing manufacturing laborer Shane McKnight for the cost to repair her car. Shane says the damage was the result of a freak accident.
So what he's saying is he locked his keys in the car. He wasn't in the car, and therefore he's not responsible if his car rolled and damaged your car. That's your defense. Is that
Correct.
Right, sir?
Yes.
And the car, when you arrived back in the parking lot, was not where you had parked it.
That's
Is that right?
Yes.
The keys were locked in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
So clearly nobody had gotten into the car to drive it. It had to have rolled from one place to another.
I disagree.
Tell me what you think happens.
There was a bunch of people from the bar where he made an attempt to get into the car. There was a guy there with one of those Jimmy type of bars that goes in between the window and the door. Several attempts were made to get into the car using that. And so I left to go call a tow truck to have them come out and unlock the door. And by the time I got back, the car had moved into the position that she claims.
So so you don't know what happened to the car?
Well, I maintain that one of the guys that was using the Jimmy to make an attempt to get into the car did get into the car while I was gone, backed it up, and staged the whole thing. That's
okay. So let me understand your defense, sir. Your defense is that while you were gone, one of the people that you had asked for help,
yes,
had in fact gotten into the car, backed it up into her car.
Yeah, about 3 inches or so away. It wasn't even touching when I arrived.
Well, maybe it bounced off. She's not here because her car wasn't damaged.
Right.
She's here because her car was damaged. And then when he realized that he had backed it up into her car, got out, left the car running, and relocked the car.
Yes.
That's your defense?
Yes.
I want you to hum for me the theme from The Twilight Zone. Listen to me. I think I know what happened, Mr. McKnight. You left the keys in your car. The car was running. And you left to go get a tow truck. While you were gone, E.T. landed in the parking lot with his little finger. You know that long finger? Managed to get in, unlock the car, but nobody could see him because you have to be under 10 years old to see him. Got into the car, backed into her car, right? And then the ship took off. Let me see pictures of the car, please. Nice. Show them to Mr. McKnight so he knows what he's going to pay for, and let me see the estimate.
I have 2 estimates here, and I'll give it to you.
Cheaper of the 2 estimates is $1,046?
Correct.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor, this is case number 248 on the calendar in the matter of Morissette versus Morissette. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. Be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Morissette, the defendant is your father, and you're suing him because you say he didn't do the right thing with regard to a car that you paid a lot of money for that was in his name, and he took the car back, and he didn't have any reason to take the car back, and you want him to give you back the money that you put into the car, which was $3,000. Is that right?
He had reason to take it back, but I just want my down payment back.
That's sort of interesting. You say he had reason to take it back. So
I mean,
let's
he didn't really have...
Shh, just a second. You put $3,000 down in the car, is that right?
Yes.
Is that right, Mr. Morissette?
No, ma'am. It was $2,500.
Okay. Let's say she put down $2,500. Why don't you tell me the reasons that you think that your father took the car back? How long did you have it, by the way?
From 97 to September of 2000.
And he took the car back in 2000? So what took you so long to get to court?
Because I had found out that my father had said once he paid the car off, he was going to return the car to me so that I can have transportation. Once the car was paid off, he never returned the car to me.
So in 1997, you put down $2,500 in the car?
I put down $3,000. I saved up $3,000 for
Let's say you put down
payment.
$3,000. That was in 1997, 5 years ago. And you drove the car from 1997 to when?
Till September of 2000. But I didn't drive it that whole time from 1997 to 2000.
Why not?
Because he took the car about maybe 4 times.
Why?
Within the whole time. Reasons: one, I had an accident one time in Fresno.
How many accidents did you have?
2 accidents.
Anybody hurt?
No.
Were you on his insurance at the time?
Yes, I was.
And how many cars did your father have?
About 4. Well, yeah, 4, including mine and his
Including
name.
yours, so his insurance went up on all of his cars, I assume, right?
But I already
Big time.
stated before that I would get my own insurance.
Well, did you get your own insurance?
No, because he took the car.
Right. How many years would you say you drove this car?
Totaling about 2 years, because all the times that he took the car.
So you drove the car for 2 years?
Yeah.
Who paid for the insurance?
I did.
Were you
My insurance was $120 a month. I was giving my father $150 actually, and he was making a $30 profit. But I always paid him every.
Is that right?
She paid the insurance, but that's not. She didn't give me no profit.
So far she's paid, let's say, $1,500 a year to drive a car. Is that right?
Yes. I also paid for when he took the car from me in September. I paid for the car. He started driving the car to work, and I was still paying the car notes while he drove the car.
Really? In 1997, you were paying the car notes?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, she paid for 2 years on the car, like she said.
I paid for more than 2 years.
2 years.
Okay.
2 years she paid on the car.
Great.
Okay.
So it was more than just the down payment.
Yeah, it was more than the down payment. She was driving the car. It was a party car.
It was not a party.
Shh. I said, well, Chandra, the car is in my name. You can't let everybody keep driving this car. Everybody driving the car. Oh, my friends. Them was her friends long as she letting them drive the car around. Them was her friends. Okay, well, I said, well, since this is in my name, insurance calling me up. They not calling her. They calling me.
You're absolutely right, sir. So you took the car back.
And I told her, I tried to explain it to her. Okay.
Did you let your friends drive the car? Did you?
Yes.
So why'd you do that for? Father said, don't do it.
Well, one time, the accident
I'm at risk. He says to you, I'm at risk. Everything that I have, I could lose because you're letting your friends drive the car.
Yes, and he took the car from me those times.
Listen to me. He took the car from you, but then at some point he gave it back.
Yes, he did.
And then you let your friends drive it again.
That happened twice.
So that's twice too many. Chandra, that's twice too many. And you had an accident twice. And the 2 accidents that you had, did the insurance company say that they were your fault or the other person's fault?
The first accident was not my fault. The second accident was my fault.
Tell me about the second accident.
The second accident, I was in Fresno. Someone else was driving the car.
Someone else?
Yes.
Oh, Chandra, you don't deserve to have a car.
Yes.
You don't deserve to have a car, period. End of discussion. How much did it cost? Quiet. How much did it cost, sir, to fix up all these problems with your daughter?
$40,000 on this car. $40,000.
Show me. This was on the last accident she had?
The last one, she didn't have an accident. Her friend was driving the car.
I know.
$19,000 was paid out on that one.
Well, how much do you owe, sir?
Nothing.
I mean, I understand that this is what the insurance company
He paid nothing.
Shh. Oh, he paid.
Oh, yeah.
Believe me.
I'm paying
he paid.
now.
He's paying now, and he's going to pay for a very long time for
Right.
all the other cars that he'll ever own. He's going to pay for this.
This is an accident in Fresno. She said she was driving, which is state that Jose was driving.
Not Jose.
Right here.
It was not Jose. It was Joseph.
Jose. $19,000.
Yeah, they paid $19,000. And this one is for $40,000 that they paid out?
That's the total package on the 3 accidents that occurred on the car. And so when the insurance company said, what you going to do about Chandra? And I said, I'm dropping her. I'm dropping her.
He had to drop me.
No, he said, when he called me, he said it's going to cost about $4,000 a year for Chandra.
You're right, you drop her.
So
Fast.
I'm
and you
dropping
take back her car. Say no more, Mr. Morissette. Listen to me. I'm going to make it as simple as I can for you, Chandra. I want you to listen to the reality of it. You drove the car for 2 years, if I believe you, but the car was really in your possession off and on for 3 years,
Yes,
which is what you told me. Your father took it back various times and gave it back to you when you promised you would be good and not do the wrong thing again. He gave it back to you. He gave you another chance, and then he took it back again. So for that period of time, when the car depreciates in value, I'm speaking, you had use of the car. Then they came to a point where your father is told either you drop her or we're dropping you or we're going to raise your rates on your other cars so high that you're going to be working 6 jobs in order to pay your insurance. So your father is left with only one choice, which is drop Chandra and take the car back permanently. At that point, he has to pay you zippity-doo-dah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you go back on your word when you said I won't let anybody else drive the car anymore? Did you go back on your word? Did you go back on your word?
And later today,
How did you pull your daughter out?
I grabbed her by the arm and pulled her on out of there, and she started screaming. I was worried about her because she was out of the car, and he started coming toward her and hit her with the truck.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chandra Morissette says her father, Freddie Morissette, illegally repossessed her car. Freddie says Chandra was allowing her friends to drive it.
Miss Morissette, your irresponsibility placed him in a position of risk. The car had already depreciated in value the moment that you drive it out of the lot. Probably at least the amount of your down payment. And if you had done the right thing and had been responsible, your father would not have been in a position of having to take the car back from you. It's as simple as that. It's your fault.
I know it was
and
my
it's your fault
that
he is going to
from me,
continue.
But my father had made an agreement that he would pay the car off. Once he paid the car off, he was going to give the car back to me in my name, and I was supposed to pay him. Then he went back on that.
So, did you?
No, I didn't, because I was paying him the whole time I was there.
Listen to me. Did you go back on your word when you said to your father, I won't let anybody else drive the car anymore? Did you go back on your word? Did you go back on your word? Did it cause him a lot of trouble?
Yes.
Cost him money? Forever? As long as he drives a car and has insurance? You have a younger brother? Because according to you, he paid off the car and he gave the car to your younger brother.
Yes, he did.
I hope he's more responsible.
It wasn't always like that. I mean, when he said that he would give the car back to me once I paid it off, I mean, that's what I thought was going to happen.
So?
So I had to continue paying for a car that he was driving.
What was the last payment you made on the car?
Was in August. August of 2000, because that's when he kicked me out.
2 years ago. The same time that all this problem was staring at him in the face from Allstate Insurance Company. You know, you're in good hands?
Yes.
Your car was not in good hands when you had it.
Yes, it was. I took care of...
Listen to me. You're not getting your down payment back from your father. If he had a counterclaim for what all your irresponsibility cost him, I guarantee you it would be far more than the $2,500 or $3,000.
He shouldn't have never agreed to give me the car back once I paid the car off. Or he shouldn't have said that he was going to pay the car off and give the car back to me. That's how all this started. That's how...
It all started, madam, because you were irresponsible. And you lied to your father, and you caused him all kinds of difficulty, and he kept giving you chance after chance until he finally got disgusted.
And I was trying to prove myself to him, trying to prove that I am responsible.
You working?
Yes, I am.
Where?
It's at Barnes & Noble's.
How long have you been working at
I've just started working there. I was recently working at Kmart.
You live by yourself?
No, I don't. I live with my boyfriend.
Does he work?
No.
He doesn't work?
Right now, he's in jail.
Your boyfriend is in jail?
Yes.
So you don't live with your boyfriend, you live alone? Is that right?
Yeah, I live with my boyfriend's grandmother.
You live with your boyfriend's grandmother. You have children?
No, I don't.
Do you pay rent to your boyfriend's grandmother?
I do.
How do you get to work?
The bus, or I walk, or I have to call a cab because it's on days when the buses don't run.
Why haven't you in the last 2 years been able to
I've
save
been
up
trying to
enough money?
save up for a car, but living on your own is hard to try to save up for a car
Especially
and
if
pay
you
rent.
especially if you have a boyfriend who's in jail.
He has nothing to do with none of this.
Oh, sure he does. It's an exercise in my determining whether or not you still have good judgment. And I'm telling you, if there are two young people and you're working and he's working, so you're able to combine your money, you have a little extra money so that you can put away a little bit every month so that you can save, so that you can buy the things that you want, that's good judgment. If you choose at your age to have a boyfriend who's in jail, that's an exercise in poor judgment. Chandra, get over it. Your father owes you nothing. Goodbye.
These are excused. You may step out.
I want her to realize I'm trying to help her.
I worked hard for that car.
She's not helping me.
And then he's going to take it back from me and then not return like he said he would do.
I'm trying to do her a favor.
My father's never treated me like he treats other kids. He's always treated me like I'm, an outsider.
I'm trying to help her to get out in life.
23-year-old accounting assistant Ilana Martin is suing 65-year-old beauty college owner Giovanni Scavo for $5,000. Ilana says that during a hair treatment at Giovanni's beauty school, a student hairstylist burned her face.
Order. All rise. This is case number 606 on the calendar in the matter of Martin versus Scavo. As a sworn-in judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
Miss Martin, it is your complaint that you were injured while you were having a hair process done at the defendant's establishment.
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. What kind of establishment does he have?
A beauty school.
And are these people who work in the establishment licensed beauticians?
Not yet. They're students.
Okay. And you knew that when you went in?
Yes, I did.
And when did you first start going to his school?
I don't remember the exact date. I would like to say December of last year.
And what kind of processing did you have at the school?
Normally, I would just get a flat iron, basically a straightening with a pressing kind of iron, and it's just straightening the hair, like a pressing.
It's a hot iron.
Mm-hmm, correct.
Well, that's your complaint. You complained that sometime in January, was it in January?
Yes, January 19th.
You were burned with the iron.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated.
Yes, I do.
Okay. How many times had you had your hair straightened before January 19th?
At least 8 times.
With the same person?
With the same person, and occasionally with someone else. But I was confident in her work, so I would usually make an appointment with her.
What's her name?
Aisha.
And what happened when you came in on the 19th?
She seemed a little preoccupied, but I didn't think that I was in any danger. And while she was almost finished, she was straightening this portion of my hair over here near the right temple, and the end of it touched me on the right temple, and I still have a scar, permanent scar.
Could you step up for a minute? I want to take a look at that.
Yes. And would you like to see any pictures?
Well, first let me see the scar itself. Right over here?
Yes, right temple.
With the triangular shape.
Correct.
Okay, step back. Okay. What happened after she touched your face?
After she touched my face, I expected an apology at the very least. If it had been me, I believe I would have been so shocked I would have said oops or I apologize or whatever. I didn't receive that. Basically, I think she was annoyed.
Don't tell me what you think. Tell me what happened.
Okay, I'm sorry. Basically, it appeared that she was annoyed, and I said that I needed to tell the management or whoever was in charge that this had happened.
Did somebody come over to look at you, or did you go to see the manager?
Well, there were 2 people that were in charge, and one came over and told Aisha to give me a type of ointment, and that didn't seem to help. It was still hurting. And then the other lady, who I presume is higher up, came over and informed me that this type of thing is normal and it happens sometimes, and basically I can't expect to be compensated for such a
Well, did
occurrence.
you ask for compensation at that time?
I did.
What did you say?
I wanted a facial, free facial. Basically.
So what
do
did you say? You
anything.
burned me and I want a free facial?
I said that I've been burned, and I said that this is negligence, basically, and I said, are you trying to dismiss this? Are you trying to make light of it? And she said that she wasn't, but I could tell that basically she was trying to brush it off.
When did you discuss free facial with her?
Right there, while I was sitting
Well, tell
in the
me
chair.
what you said to her.
I said, at the very least, can I at least get a free facial, like when I come back, because I don't want her to do my hair again. I don't want to get my hair done. So since I wouldn't want you to, have me get something with the hair, can I just, facial or something?
Did you subsequently go to a doctor?
Yes. When I got to urgent care.
Do you have a report from them?
Yes.
Can I see it, please?
And when I got to H.
Your entire bills were $5?
Well, I did go back again to the doctor in February, the beginning of February, because I had expected it to fade away or something. I had been treating it with the ointment they had given me and everything, but it was still there. And basically, he was telling me that there was nothing he could do. So I'm assuming that I'm just going to be stuck with a permanent scar.
Were you there when this incident
no,
happened?
ma'am. I was not on the premises when the alleged accident happened.
Well, who was there?
Ms. Asaf is the supervisor,
Step up, please.
and Aisha was the student that performed the services.
Okay. One of my questions is, when someone comes into a school to have work done, do they sign any sort of release?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see the release that they
Yes.
sign? Because that would strike me as something that people would sign.
Excuse me, Your Honor?
Yes.
The release I signed was for a perm when I had a relaxer put on my hair.
Just a second. I'm reading. That was the first thing that struck me. I didn't see anything about a release there. Okay. This says that you understand that the Elegante Beauty College is a school which instructs students who wish to become beauticians, and that the operators who will perform the work upon me are students and not fully trained and licensed professionals. Because of their inexperience, there is a risk that I could be injured or sustain damage from the negligence or carelessness of such student in performing the work done upon me. Nevertheless, in consideration of a reduced charge I will pay for such services, I agree to assume the risk of any injury or damage that I may suffer because of such negligence or carelessness, and I agree to give up my right to make a claim against the student, the school, the instructor, or any school personnel. And you signed it, and it's dated November 3rd, 2000, right?
Yes, you're right.
So?
I signed that when I received a relaxer, because I believe anytime that there's a chemicals put on the hair, that's when they have you sign that.
No, that's not what this says. That's not what this says at all. And one would not expect them to have you sign one each time you came in. You came in, according to you, 8 times, Miss Martin. The most important thing here, whether it's a relaxer or using a hot iron or whatever it is they are telling you that their students are, quote, not fully trained and licensed professionals. And they go on to say that because of their inexperience, there is a risk that I could be injured or sustain damage from their negligence or carelessness. The situation didn't change from November until January. You still were going to the school. You still knew that you were dealing with students who weren't fully trained, and that you had signed an agreement not to sue them, right?
Yes.
So?
But like I was saying, I had believed that I was signing it only because of the chemicals used.
You mean chemicals would be all right, hot irons are not? That's ridiculous.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ilana Martin says a student at Giovanni Scavo's beauty school burned her face while straightening her hair. She's suing for $5,000.
You indicate in your answer the plaintiff was burned once before.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that true?
Yes.
When was that?
On December 23rd, she came in, and another student by the name of Heather did her because Aisha could not do her at that time.
Is that true?
That is true.
So Heather did your hair on December 23rd?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And Heather needed help from an instructor, and the instructor went for the finishing touches around the hairline, and you have to use a comb. She used the comb, which I have here.
What kind of comb? A regular comb?
It's a pressing comb.
Pressing comb.
This is what can get real close to the hairline. And the instructor, which has many years' experience, accidentally touched around her hairline and burned her. So that's when Miss McDonough, one of the instructors, came up, and she also applied an ointment. And then she said, well, because of your inconvenience, we're going to give you a free service so we can check the burn out and make sure
so
that...
you gave her a free service?
We gave her about 6 free services, as I recall, Your Honor.
Were you burned once before there on the 23rd of December?
Yes, I was. But because they had agreed to compensate me for my troubles, then I, didn't think it to press on about it.
In exchange for being burned, you agreed to accept some free services.
Right. But the thing, if you don't mind, when she burned me, it was, I'm talking about Miss Neal this time, it was on the hairline. I mean, this other burn, by Aisha, that's nowhere near my hairline.
Of course it isn't near your hairline. But Miss Martin, according to your statement to me, what you did at that point was say, I want a free facial. And then they said no. And then you decided to sue them for $5,000. You went back for a similar kind of treatment to the same place where you were hurt less than a month later. Just not smart. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't let somebody who had burned me once do it again. In any event, you released the school from any claims of liability arising out of any treatment that you received while at the school because Aisha is not a licensed beautician. She's a student in training. You were told that she could hurt you. She did, in fact, hurt you. You agreed to accept that possibility in exchange for the reduced charge that you were paying at the school rather than going to a beauty salon. So unless you can establish to my satisfaction that there was something other than negligence here, you have no case. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. I mean, she didn't do it purposely, did she?
Well, I don't know what was in her head, so I can't.
Well, I can guarantee you that she didn't burn you purposely. That's all. Case is over.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Right after I burned her,
She screamed immediately and called one of my instructors. She made a big scene about it.
Basically, just go to a regular salon.
26-year-old cafeteria supervisor Gwen Oglesby is suing her ex-boyfriend's friend, 26-year-old dental assistant Dominique Magallanes, for kicking her car and terrorizing her kids.
Order. All rise. Yes, this is case number 137 on the calendar in the matter of Oglesby versus Magallanes. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Miss Oglesby, according to the complaint that I've read, on April 21st, you went to your ex-boyfriend's house. You and your ex-boyfriend have a child together, and it was your intention to retrieve some property. You arrive at the house, and the defendant is there.
Yes.
You and the defendant exchanged some words.
Yes, we did.
Nasty words.
Yes.
Why, I couldn't tell you, but you exchanged some nasty words. According to your complaint, the next day, while you were in or around your home, the defendant shows up with someone else in her car. They get out of the car. Your children are in your car.
In the car.
You get in your car because you see her. And she kicked your car and terrorized your children who were in the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you want her to pay for A, the damage to your car, and B, for terrorizing your children, right?
Yes.
So you get to the house on April 21st, the ex-boyfriend's house. Who answers the door?
Nobody answered the door, Your Honor. He wouldn't open the door.
How did you become involved with the defendant?
As I was leaving, he came out on the balcony, and I asked him, you know, just let me get the clothing. I need it for my daughter for school. And he...
Just a minute. I would like her out of the room, please. Go ahead.
Okay. He came out on the balcony, and he says, get out of here. You left me for another guy, this and that. And at that time, she came out on the balcony, and I exchanged words with her.
Well, what were the words you exchanged with her?
I just asked her, like, you know, who are you, and things like that. Really was none of my business, but I just asked her. And she didn't say...
But it wasn't nice. You didn't say, who are you?
No.
What is your name?
No.
So you were annoyed and nasty and screaming at your ex-boyfriend and screaming at her. And then you left.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened the next day?
The next day I was coming home from a fair in our city, Orange Blossom Festival, and I had my friend with me, and my brother was with me that day. And we had 2 kids in the car, and then we stopped at my cousin's and we picked up my 2 daughters. And on my way home, I witnessed her nephew driving down my street. I was leaving the gates, and I saw him coming into the gates of the apartments, and he was looking at me like, you know, what are you doing here? And I was kind of wondering.
Okay, so nephew. So you see the nephew driving down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I turned my car around because I was going to go to my cousin's house because I didn't know what he was doing on my street. I was kind of a little bit worried. So as I was stopped my car, I got out of my car and I was standing there because he was going to turn around. I thought he wanted to talk to me or something, so I got out of my car.
Your Honor, if I can
just a minute. I thought you said you were driving to your cousin's house because you didn't know what was going on. He was looking at you funny, so what did you get out of your car for?
I got out of my car because I wanted to clear up what happened with me and her the day before on the balcony. I didn't want any trouble.
Go ahead.
So he didn't turn around at the first street. He went to my street, honked the horn, and the defendant came out of my street with her 2 friends in her truck. And I got back in my car because I saw her coming, and my 9-year-old daughter was screaming, bloody murder. My 6-year-old daughter was crying, and they were screaming. She's all, no, Mom, no, Mom. And
what were they screaming for? So far, nothing's happened.
Because that guy, she didn't know what he was doing on my street. And I told my friend, I think that...
We passed the guy. You got back in your car. I thought you told me you got back in your car when you saw the nephew. And then you saw her car.
I saw her come out of my street, okay? And I got back in my car. And I sat there, and I told my friend, call 911, because I didn't know what they were going to do.
Where was your friend?
She was in the passenger seat.
So what happened next?
Okay, so I got back in the car, and by that time, she skidded up in front of my car. Her and 2 other girls jumped out of the car, came up to my window. My window was halfway down. I said, my kids are in the car, my kids are in the car. And she didn't say nothing, but she said, you're mine. And I just seen this foot coming, and then her friend hit my car with a cane, a brown long cane.
Was there a dent on your car?
Yes, ma'am. I have the picture.
Let me see. Got it. Okay. Estimate.
This is from my insurance company, and this is from the body shop. I had to pay $500, and they paid $315.
So you had a $500 deductible?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
On April 21st, approximately like 4 o'clock in the evening.
4 o'clock is in the afternoon, last time I looked.
Early afternoon, early evening. I was invited over to Carlos's house.
I don't care. You were in Carlos's house.
Okay.
She comes over.
And we were celebrating my birthday. I had nothing to do with, no relationship, honestly, with Carlos. I walked into the kitchen. I heard a knock at the door, and that's when the plaintiff ended up hearing my voice. I said, someone is at your door. And then the plaintiff had knocked twice, this time even louder. And then after that, I was like, oh my God, who is that? He sat there and he told me, oh, that's my baby's mom. And I said, oh, great. I don't want any trouble. I didn't even bring my own vehicle. He went to my residence and he picked me up.
I don't care about that. Just get to what's important, madam. You had words with her. She started screaming. There's no question in my mind that she opened up a big fresh mouth and called you a whole bunch of names when you came outside on the patio. She opened up a big fresh mouth and then she left.
In a gated community, she entered the residence and then she got on her cell phone and she made numerous calls, which I had called authorities, and Carlos had asked her to leave.
Okay, because she was pretty frightening.
Yeah.
She was pretty frightening.
Right.
So then my question to you, madam, is why the next day do you go to her house?
That is not accurate. The whole scenario of the case is like, it was one day, which was on the 21st. The 22nd is when I got to there's a local gas station. There's another street coming eastbound.
I don't care, just get to it.
She ended up coming oncoming traffic with her 2 children in the vehicle, and she boxed my vehicle into the gasoline station. There was a truck.
Shh. Hey, no, she's not. No, she's not. You got a miserable hot temper.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gwen Oglesby says her ex-boyfriend's friend, Dominique Magalonis, kicked her car. Dominique says Gwen attacked her.
Go ahead. She boxed your car in. So she's even more frightening. And then she took off.
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
You took off.
No.
Somebody left.
No, this is a...
You're not still at the gas station.
No, the whole thing is the reason why I ended up leaving is because I was rolling up in my lower truck and I was rolling up the window and I could see her coming out like this and they said, oh my God, there she is, which is my other witness. I had 3 witnesses that didn't even show up today because she's intimidating.
Just a second. I don't care about you 3 witnesses who didn't show up today. Did she hit you?
Yes, she did. She struck me from my driver's side window.
Did you call? Hey, quiet.
He was with me.
Quiet.
As a result of that, the gentleman on back of me in the other vehicle let me go.
So you left?
I ended up going down on this one street that directs from my house to her house.
Perfect.
And then I ended up calling a deputy that I know specifically in the area that we live in to ask him basically, what am I supposed to be doing with this?
Why did you go to her house the next day?
To go out there and let her know that I had just started working for a new office and I didn't want her going into my office and acting a fool like she did at the apartment.
Just a second. So, she acts like a maniac 2 days in a row.
Correct. With her children in the vehicle.
2 days in a row.
Correct.
The next day, you, with a couple of friends in your truck, go to her house to have a discussion with her? A reasonable discussion with her?
No, ma'am.
What did you go there for?
She had occupants in the vehicle. She had 2 daughters.
What did you go there for?
To basically explain to her that I am
So
not
you
gonna
went
do it.
there to have a reasonable, calm discussion with her?
I conduct myself in a decent manner.
What'd you kick her car for? You kicked her car.
No, because the reason why, I admit that
You
I did
did
kick her car. Because, okay, if anybody caused any trauma to her 2 children, the daughters, she had a knife inside the front vehicle.
Shh, I don't want to hear you.
Okay, and about her saying that I had apparently called her these names, she was standing outside the vehicle. She ran inside the car. She had her hair down as it is now. She pulled it up in a ponytail and she said, you know what, it's one-on-one, B-I-T-C-H. That's exactly what you said to me with your children inside the vehicle.
Wonderful. She's not, listen to me. She's a hothead. She's got a hot temper. You're a fool because I don't believe that you don't have a hot temper because somebody who acts as crazy as she acted 2 days in a row.
Correct.
You don't respond to that by going to her house with friends in your truck. You had no business going over there. You have a friend in the police department.
Correct.
Your friend in the police department would not say to you, well, after acting like a nut, I think it would be a good idea to go over there and try to have a calm discussion with her.
Correct.
And you did, and you ended up kicking her car and causing damage.
Because she tried to exit the vehicle with a knife, and she was on a cell phone.
No, madam. Listen carefully to me. You had no business being there with your two friends in a truck. You kicked her car.
But it was out of self-defense. I wasn't trying to cause any harm to her. You were on the phone, and I said, you know what? I told her straight up.
Be quiet, hothead.
Okay. I told her.
Quiet, hothead.
I told her honestly, I said, you know what? You're a very beautiful woman, but the way you're acting towards me, I have no relationship with Carlos, nothing.
Just a second. I don't believe you when you say you went to her house for the express purpose of having a calm discussion with her. You went there with two cars, not one. Your nephew's car went first. You came in your truck second with other people in your truck. You ended up banging her car. But for the fact that you went to her house, you would not have placed yourself in this circumstance. You have to pay for the damage.
But yet let her come to my residence and drive up and down my residence, so I don't even stay at my house anymore. I've moved out of location.
I'm telling you, she's a hothead. She's not going to get 1 penny for what she says was trauma to her children. She's suing not only for the damage to her car, but for the trauma to her children. She caused that.
I'm not worried about the money. I'm just worried about her leaving me alone. That's basically what I want.
Well, I want to tell you something. You didn't handle it right, madam. Handling it right was not going to her house with a whole bunch of other people.
That's not true, though. I didn't come to her to sit there and try to cause damage to her.
Whether you did or whether you didn't, it was an exercise in poor judgment, considering what had transpired the 2 previous days, to go to her residence.
She presented a note into my...
Listen to me. Period. Period.
When she goes to my office and she...
Period! Now, your girls were traumatized?
Your Honor. Yes.
Your girls were traumatized?
Yes, they were.
I have a feeling that if your girls were in the car, you would have said the exact same things as you said when you went to pick up their property at the house, Big Mouth.
I don't do that in front of my children, Your Honor.
Oh, really not? I don't think you can control yourself. So I'm eliminating any claim for trauma to your children. You better learn how to control your temper. But you do get the damage to the car. Your out-of-pocket is $500. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The defendant's just upset that I told my ex-boyfriend that she was really a man instead of really a woman.
Her attitude is like way off.
And now the next case.
All parties on Turner versus Turner. Step forward, please.
40-year-old marketing director Carmela Turner is suing her ex-husband, 40-year-old personal trainer Daryl Turner, for pawning her karaoke speakers.
Miss Turner, were you ever married to the defendant?
I was married at one point to this defendant.
When?
We were married October 2nd, 1994.
And divorced when?
June 28th of this year.
But you've been together for a longer period of time than that, is that right?
Yes, we have.
Since when?
Since 1991.
Do you have any children?
Yes, we do. We have one son, Andre, and one son, Daryl Turner, the second.
Either one of these children?
Daryl. Little.
Little one?
Yes.
Who are these two children?
These are 2 of my boys from a previous marriage.
Okay. Is there any reason that these boys have to be here?
Michael actually was our sound person that...
I don't need information about that. That has nothing to do with this case.
Okay.
Why don't you boys go outside, please? They can find their way, Bert.
Okay.
I don't see why children have to be involved with this. Okay. Not a very difficult case. Mr. Turner, according to your former wife's complaint, she was given by the state some sound equipment in order to help her build up some sort of a business. And that business was the karaoke business, and you would do shows and events and things. Is that right?
That's right.
You worked in it together.
That's right.
The speakers were part of the equipment that was given to you.
Yes.
Because you have some sort of a disability?
Right.
And according to you, you also contributed to the business. The kids were involved, and you did some events over a period of how many years?
3.
And then there came a time, Mr. Turner, that according to you, you needed some money.
We needed money.
According to you, you needed some money, which is what you say in your answer.
Okay.
And so you pawned 4 of the speakers.
Correct.
When did you do that?
Right before May.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Right before your divorce?
Well, right around then. Shortly before then.
Well, were you living together at the time you were going through a divorce?
Yeah, well, the divorce came
prior to some things that was going on that led up to the divorce.
Well, usually people don't get divorced in 1 month. So were you actually living in the house?
Yes.
And within a month, a divorce became final? What are you shaking your head? He's not making sense to me.
Me either.
Okay. Were you living together in May of 2000 when he pawned these 4 speakers?
Okay, he pawned the speakers in February. He did not pawn them in May, he pawned them in February.
Does that sound?
That sounds about right.
Okay. And when did he move out of the house?
He started preparing to move out right around May 1st, and he moved out, actually physically out, May 23rd.
Now, did you agree that he should pawn these speakers in February?
No, I didn't, not initially.
What do you mean not initially?
The pawning was done prior to me coming home. Now, after he did tell me about it and told me why he did it, and he told me that he would get the speakers back before our next show.
Does that sound right?
Some of it.
No, does that sound right? That you went and you pawned the speakers, and then you told her that you had pawned the speakers, but that you would get them back before the next show?
Some of it.
Oh, tell me what's not right.
I pawned them without her knowledge because we had an upcoming event. The event we were going to be performing at had their own equipment. We needed some new material. That's the reason why I did it, so we can get the material that we needed for that event. I did inform her of it as soon as she got home.
Okay. How much did you get for the speakers?
Oh, I think about $400.
You have the ticket?
No, I don't.
Mm-hmm. You never got the speakers back?
No, I didn't.
Why?
We separated, and I wanted 2 of the speakers. She refused to give me 2 of the speakers, so I didn't feel that I needed to get them out of the pawn shop. So I didn't want her to have all of them, so I left them there.
Well, you can't do that, Mr. Turner.
Well, there's a reason why I did it.
I'm listening to your reason.
The reason why I did it is when I left the city I was in to go to resign in another city, as soon as I got there, the sheriffs were waiting for me, which she had called. They threw me up against the fence, handcuffed me. My little 4-year-old was with me. He was crying hysterically. Then they had to take him back halfway to Bakersfield by himself. This is about 10:30 at night, by himself. Then I was humiliated in the local newspaper as being a child abductor. All this stuff went on. Now, she kept all the microphones, all the lights, everything to the show, everything, all the furniture. All I wanted was just 2 of the monitors. So
but she had been given those, sir, by the state.
Well, we were married, and when you're married, usually there's what they call a common, I forget the term that was used.
Community property is what you're talking about.
Okay, right, exactly. Community property.
Community property, sir, contemplates that married people contribute the same, some with time, some with money, some with a combination of time and money and caregiving, etc. So community property means that each of you has contributed a certain amount to the physical things in a marriage, the televisions, the sofas, the table and the chairs, etc. When the state, through a vocational rehabilitation project, gives equipment to someone who is disabled in some way, that does not become community property. Ever. Do you understand?
I do.
It would be, sir, listen to me, it would be like you saying to me, the state gave my wife a wheelchair. When I left, I took half of it because it's community property. The state gives her a wheelchair or a respirator to breathe on. That does not become community property. These speakers represent the same kind of thing because they were given to her. She did not pay for them. You did not pay for them. They were sort of a gift, an investment by the state to see if she could in some way earn a living. So you had no right to pawn the speakers. Period. End of discussion. But I don't know what you want. I don't know what it costs to replace the speakers. They use speakers. Well, what does it cost to replace them?
When they were purchased, they were brand new, and I did bring you receipts, and I also brought you the paperwork saying that they were, for me to become a sole proprietor. What I did, they had to be replaced. We can't work without them. We'll get our microphones and the amplifiers if there are no speakers. I was able to go online, and I actually found them a little less expensive than what they paid for them. And they were new when they paid for them, and they're also new now. And here are the receipts for that.
Did you buy them, or did you?
I've ordered them.
You've ordered them?
Yes, and they've charged my credit card. And the proof is on there about the charging of the credit card.
Okay. So the total is $1,466?
Right.
And that's for 2 speakers?
4, actually.
4 speakers.
2 monitors and 2 speakers. And on the front of the
did he also take the monitors?
Yeah, it was 4 total. It was 2 speakers and 2 monitors. And on the front, it shows the pictures of them.
Yeah, what do you want to tell me, sir? Fast.
Now, the speakers were heard, but the microphones, the lights, the fog machines, we have more than just speakers. There's other equipment that I bought. She got that stuff still.
Just a minute. That's part of your divorce, sir. That's part of your divorce. If you purchased it with your money...
Shouldn't I be entitled to get it?
You should have asked for it in the divorce, sir.
I did.
And was it given to you?
No.
Well, then, what do I have to listen to it for? So what I'm telling you is, certain things are community property, certain things are individual property. These items that were given to her by the state are her single property. They were not given to you as a couple. In this case, if you decided to let that other equipment go in your divorce, that was your problem. This you cannot do. You cannot take property that is not yours and sell it, which is exactly what you did, and you have to pay for it. $1,466.29 is what it cost to replace it.
Your Honor.
What?
Okay, when he did do that back, in February, there was a show coming up.
I heard that you put in a deposit and you couldn't do it. You should have rented equipment. I don't want to hear anything about that.
It wasn't a deposit. I had to pay the whole thing. It's right here.
No. You're not paying attention. You paid the whole thing, and what I said was, then if you didn't have these speakers, you should have rented equipment for the day. Do you understand? He can't sell your individual property, which is what he did when he pawned it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,466.29. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Your Honor, this is case number 190 on the calendar in the matter of Sheftel versus DeRosa. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks have seats.
Don't bring out, don't touch anything. Mr. Sheftel, according to your complaint, you are in the business of making customized chocolates.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant had been a customer of yours for some time.
Yes.
There came a time when she ordered a customized item.
Correct.
Which you claim you delivered to her, put on a credit card.
Correct.
She stopped payment on the credit card and returned the chocolate.
Yes.
You say there was nothing wrong with the product and you want her to pay for it.
Correct.
Mr. Rosa says the product was defective and delivered late, right?
Yes, my horse looked deformed.
Okay. How long had she been a customer of your business?
About 5 or 6 years.
With no problem?
Never had a problem.
What kind of customized chocolates had she ordered previously?
The coins, I brought these to show you. They're customized chocolate coins with an imprint with her company or horse's name on them.
Fine.
And she ordered it by the thousands.
And what was this customized order that she made when she returned the order?
Okay, she had placed an order for thousands of chocolate coins. She came to pick them up on Valentine's Day, one of my busiest days of the year. While she was picking them up, she was on her way to a horse show. She asked if there was anything new that we're doing. You know, she's always interested in something different. And I showed her the photo chocolates that we do. That is an imprint of, you give us a photograph and we make it into the chocolate and the whole thing is edible. She was all excited. She happened to have with her a picture of her horse, which is on the back of a phone card that she gives out as a promotional item. She gave it to me.
Can I see it, Bert?
I went into the back and I said, if you want, I'll make one up real quick for you. I can do that. So I went into the back and I made one very quick for her, just to give her an idea. This is the exact sample that I made for her.
Let me see.
No, I ate the sample. I have an eating disorder. I ate the sample.
Listen, Mr. Rosa, don't speak until I speak to you.
Sorry.
Don't look back there. Look here. Don't forget. Don't speak. Okay, so this, you say, is the sample you made for her?
Yes, here. This is the finished product that we actually shipped out, several hundred of these.
Okay.
And you can take them out of the box if you'd like.
Just a minute. I don't want to take them out of the box. Okay. Okay. How many of these did she order?
200.
And what was the price?
The total came to $562.50.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The chocolates are done individually handmade, so it's not like they're done through a machine and they're all identical. They're all done by hand. Okay. We take the picture that she gave us, which you have, and we make a master sheet of them.
Listen to me. I don't plan on going into the chocolate business.
Okay.
So I'm not interested on how you do it and whether it's a good product or not good product. Listen carefully. Okay. Bird, don't eat the chocolate. That's the evidence. When did you ship out this chocolate?
The chocolate was shipped out exactly 1 week later on the 20th, and it arrived in Arizona where she needed it the next day on the 21st at 9:25 and arrived in signed for at 11:19 in Scottsdale.
Okay, she got it.
She got it within a week.
Good.
I get a call from her. She said she didn't get it in time. I said, well, what do you mean you didn't get it in time? We shipped it out. Well, she said she needed it for a party. I said, well, I was never told that you needed it for a party. This was a last-minute order. We told you we'd get it there by the end of next week. So I knew nothing about the show. That was the first thing. Then she said, well, she didn't like the way they looked. I said, well, what's wrong with them? And I never really got a correct answer from her.
Okay, let me find out. There's no question that you received the goods on the 21st of February,
Yes.
and there's no question that you stopped payment on your credit card of $562.50.
Yes.
Okay, now explain to me why.
We went in, as you said, and I'll make this very brief. He showed us the chocolates. I gave him this card, which you have in your hand. I said, could I have a sample? The reason why I brought up the eating disorder, he brought it, and I wanted to keep the sample, but we ate it on the way to Scottsdale because there's no way that chocolate can last around me. So I said to Frank, it was beautiful. I said, Frank, please make this up for the show. He sent them a day late, which I said, okay.
Just a minute. It was exactly a week later that you received them, which seems totally reasonable. So the time is not the issue.
The issue is we go through great lengths to put my horse in the best light possible. On this Visa receipt, we not only have the chocolates, but we have the gold coins. The only thing I took out of this was the chocolates, and if you look at them, it makes my horse look deformed.
Well, let me see them.
The very reason, to do this is to promote something and give this to people. And I don't know if he's changed the chocolates, kept the chocolates.
These are the exact chocolates.
You didn't make new chocolates.
No,
Can I see the box,
They were shipped
please?
back. And I want to point
Can
out
I
there were
see?
2 boxes that were shipped. She shipped back the second box with never even opened it when she got it. It was completely closed the way we sent it.
All right, let's take a look at some of these randomly, all right?
And he never said they were each one was separate and they would have a different look, or I wouldn't have done it.
Well, let me ask you this question. Could you take a look at this one and tell me what's wrong with it?
All right, well, what I wanted to start to say was the chocolate... Okay.
Just look.
Yes.
Tell me what's wrong with that.
You have a little bit on the picture there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like a little bit of a discoloration. What I wanted to start to say was these chocolates were shipped from the candy factory in North Hollywood to Arizona. They went from Arizona, I don't know how, to Solvang, and then shipped back from Solvang to the candy factory 3 weeks later. So they left, I packed them myself, they were great. I don't know what condition they were traveled by. This is perishable chocolate. Considering all the travel they
Well, then
had.
let me see. Is that the box that came back unopened?
Yes, I opened it before we came here to make sure.
May I see that
Yes.
box, please?
And it says on the side of the box.
Just a second. I don't care where it went to, before or after or whatever else. This one she opened. This one,
And she
according
removed
to
10 of those bars also and sent it back.
This one, according to you, she did not open.
Correct.
And it came back to you unopened.
Correct.
So she just opened the first one, took a look at them, saw some that were defective.
That's what she says.
Well, I see some that were defective. Here you say it may have happened later.
Correct.
So let's take a look randomly at some of these. Bird, take out some of these for me. Help me out here, would you? I went to law school for this.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chocolate maker Frank Sheftel says Timmy DeRosa refuses to pay for the custom-made chocolate she ordered. Timmy says the chocolates were deformed.
Okay. Could you tell me why this makes your horse look deformed?
Well, this particular one doesn't. This one is faded. Would you hand this to somebody if this was the Judge Judy thing, a gavel, and your whole gavel was halfway off?
I would give somebody a picture of myself that they could eat.
Well, you know what?
And that's the point. These are edible. In 2 minutes, they're gone.
Then don't have beautiful ones to show.
Are you talking to each other? Don't irritate me. This case is irritating me enough.
You cannot hand these out. There's some of them where their eyes are popped, where their eyes are bulgy. This is faded. You can't give this to somebody. These are multi-$1,000 horses. His stud fee's $3,000. We ship semen all over the country.
Could I please have that back? Listen, what I
would
don't
not
understand,
hand
Miss,
any
I'm
of this to
speaking,
anybody.
I'm speaking. Mr. Sheftel, something that I don't understand from a business perspective. Thank you. She's absolutely right that they're faded. I'm speaking. They're all faded.
6 months old.
No, they're all faded. I have no idea what they looked like before, but certainly these are faded. I don't see that they're deformed, but this isn't an oil painting. This is done in chocolate. What I don't understand from a business perspective, Mr. Sheftel, is this was a customer of yours for 6 years.
Yes.
So if she says she's dissatisfied with this part of one order that she made, it seems to me good business practice would be to say, I'll take the chocolate, I'll either eat it, or I'll mix it up in a vat, or I'll make new chocolate out of it, or I'll do something with it, but I'm not going to lose a customer of 6 years over one order. So explain that to me, because I come from a retail family, and I don't understand
So do
that.
I. The Candy Factory's been in business for 23 years.
This is not an advertisement for you,
No, I
sir.
understand
So
that, but what I'm
explain
trying
me-
to say is we don't put out an inferior product. What you're seeing here is chocolate that is now 7 months old, okay? And it fades. Chocolate, as you know, fades. These were in prime condition. Maybe there was something wrong with the shipping, maybe they were left in the sun, I don't know. When they were shipped back to me, I opened them, I looked at them, there was nothing wrong with them.
Listen, what would be the reason for the defendant, she had been a good customer, to order them and then send them back to you? She clearly liked what you did. She came to your place. She ordered it off.
She's called me since then to place another order. She called me 2 months ago to place an order.
No, what I said is do them right, and I will buy them.
No, your husband called me and asked me if he could place an order, and I said, we still have
An
this
order
outstanding.
for what?
For more chocolates.
No.
Hey! For what kind of chocolate?
We didn't even get that far.
Okay, because you said you still have this outstanding issue.
And another point I'd like to make is, she says that I could give them out as samples. I've shown them to people, actually. I do show them. I have one in the case. I think there's nothing wrong with them.
They're faded. Shh. They're faded and they're not great. And your customer didn't like them. I believe that she acted in good faith by returning them almost immediately. She said, I don't like the way they look.
It wasn't immediately. She took 10 or 15 out of one of the boxes.
Just a minute, did you take any out of the box?
When the boxes actually got there, everyone looked through them, and then they said, look, this one's deformed, this one's deformed, and the person that does the advertising...
Answer my question.
I don't know if there may be some out of the boxes that we handed out.
Well, then you pay for half. You can't use some. I don't care if you use 5 or 10 or 15 and say, I don't want